called to order at 6:05 p.m. We welcome you to the Cleveland Community Police Commission's meeting for Wednesday, February 28th, 2024. We are hosting from our office located at 3631 Perkins Avenue in Cleveland, Ohio. The meeting is scheduled to run from about 6 p.m. to 8:30. So I am going to move forward with the roll call. Commissioner, Co-Chair John Adams.
Present.
Commissioner Chandra Benito.
Present.
Commissioner James Chura.
Present.
Commissioner Charles Donaldson is out on leave. Commissioner Kyle Early has an excused absence. Commissioner Alana Garrett Ferguson. Commissioner Kate Kennedy.
Present.
Commissioner Gregory Reeves.
Present.
Commissioner Jan Ridgway.
Present.
Commissioner Pete Van Leer.
Present.
Commissioner Adriana Rodriguez.
Present.
Commissioner Terry Wong.
Present.
And I, Co-Chair Sharina Zayed, I am present. So we are going to move forward with adoption of the agenda. This was circulated for some time now. We can move to adopt the agenda with unanimous consent, or if there are any amendments or changes, those can come forward now. Yes?
In order to make sure that we're able to get through our committee reports, I just wanted to I'll make a motion to move public comment until after the committee reports.
Okay, so is there is a motion on the floor. Does anyone second that motion?
I'll second.
Okay, is there any discussion or debate?
I think that, are we extending the public comment period? Are we doubling that, or are we just saying, I think that,
Moving it.
Yeah, I believe that it's a wise idea to move it. We have so much on our agenda. We want to conclude the meeting at 8:30 to respect the time of the people that came here today. Technically, we are getting paid for this. They are not. So we don't want to go into the wee hours of 9 and 10 o'clock. So I would like to handle as much of the business as we can first. And that will allow the community to actually listen to the committee reports so they can have actual commission business to make a comment on. So I think that was a good suggestion, Commissioner Benito.
I think that it's problematic because I think there are people that have, in long-term, been committed to the work of the commission, and you're disallowing. We've normally had 2 public comment periods in order to have people reflect upon what they think about the commission to begin with, and also of our business later on. We will not be able to take any kind of suggestions or that the public have had into our business if we remove that. So I don't really think, I don't know how many people have signed up for public comment, but I really think that we probably should allow for public comment if there are people that are willing to do that at the initial stage.
Okay, are there any other comments?
My motion's on the floor has been seconded. Shouldn't we vote and then have discussion?
No,
We have discussion first and then you vote.
Okay, my fault.
I would just like to clarify, we're not changing the public comment period. We're not taking any public comment period away. We are just moving it from after the introduction to after the co-chair report. So our agenda has 1 public comment period, and then it has, at the end, it says closing public comment if time allows. And so there's no changing of the amount of public comment or the amount of people who are going to be able to comment. It's just changing where it is in the agenda.
I have a question. I want to clarify. So public comment is being moved where? It's being removed?
After committee reports.
After committee reports. So again, I don't think it's just the quantity of public comment, but the place with which it is in our agenda. I have no idea if there's any public comment at all. However, I think we should let the public speak if before the committee reports. I don't know what they will say that might impact the committee reports, but I think that is. I don't think it's reasonable to say that it's not a impactful difference, that you change the order of things on the agenda. So that's it. We can all vote for it, but I think this is actually limiting the public's ability to participate in this meeting.
Are there any other,
I think we just call for a vote.
okay.
Why don't we ask the public what they want to do?
Yeah.
I think we should ask the public what you want to do. That's what my amendment would be, and then we can make a decision after that. If
Well,
there's
with all due
anybody.
respect, the public doesn't have a vote, the commissioners have the votes.
We are a public-facing committee.
We only give you the idea of what to vote.
So, yeah, I want to call for the vote.
Yeah, you have an agenda change right now. It is not just simply, it is, you wrote the agenda this way, this is the agenda that we have had all this time.
We have a motion on the table to change the agenda or to amend the agenda.
Right.
Now we have to vote on that.
The public came to this meeting and to limit their ability to speak because I have to remind us, our.
Point of order, we're not going to argue. Can we please call for the vote?
Vote has been called for, so therefore.
Okay.
it must be held.
Let's see what they do to limit free expression of First Amendment rights.
Point of order.
Is there a vote to call for the vote?
Okay, so I'm going to call the vote. John Adams,
Aye.
Chandra Benito,
Aye.
James Chura,
Nay.
Alana Garrett Ferguson,
Nay.
Kate Kennedy,
Aye.
Gregory Reeves,
Aye.
Jan Ridgway,
Aye.
Pete Van Leer,
Aye.
Adriana Rodriguez,
I'm going to abstain.
Terry Wong,
Nay.
and I, Sharina Zayed, aye. So the vote passes with 7 ayes, 7 in favor, 5 in opposition, and 1 person that abstained. So we are going to move public comment to after the committee reports.
I have another agenda issue.
Okay.
I have another agenda issue. The motions that I have submitted, 5 of them are not all on the agenda. I'm asking that the motion to open the investigation and records request regarding OPS complaint 2022-0116 be moved to the Accountability Committee, which is the committee with which it is housed. I'm also moving that the motion regarding police personnel files is moved to the same committee report because it is housed in that committee. I think that all of my other motions, I believe, are on the agenda under new business.
The motion for public records request is on there.
It's not for public records request. It is for a consolidated personnel file to be made by the Division of Police. So this was sent to you a couple of days ago. I hope everybody read it. I've sent 5 motions and 2 of them are not on the agenda.
Okay, so we have a motion on the floor to put the motions in question under the Police Accountability Committee's time. So is there any question or debate? Oh, no, is this motion seconded? Does anybody second that motion?
I have an amendment to the motion. The other two motions for what is it?
So is this included, is this an additional motion or is this all one?
Yes, I was not finished. There are 2 other motions: motion to extend outside counsel wallet contract, motion to declare new conflict of interest regarding records requests and the engagement of counsel. Those are housed under an ad hoc committee. They should not be going under new business. They should be going under the committee reports. So I would move that they would be moved after the training committee.
Okay. So we have a motion on the floor to move. Yeah.
So the first two motions are the motion regarding the OPS
So
complaint.
I'm sorry. So is this one motion or are these separate motions? Is this
This
one?
is one motion
Okay.
to move four motions onto the agenda into the place that they likely should belong. The first motion to be moved, it was not on the agenda even though I sent it. It's the motion to open the investigation on an OPS complaint. That should be moved under accountability. This is the first, I put them in order in my document. And the second motion is a motion regarding the police personnel files. That is a issue of accountability and discipline, so that should be moved there to that report. The third motion is the motion to amend the previously adopted motion. That's also not on the agenda. That should probably go under policy where it first initially introduced. It was to amend a policy motion. The fourth motion is to establish a conflict of interest for records requests. I think that should be a separate category under the ad hoc committee. It should not be under new business. We do have a committee for that. Even if it's not a standing committee, it should be included in the committee reports. So that motion should be moved up. I'm fine with moving it after the training committee. So that's to establish the conflict of interest for the records request and engagement of outside counsel. And the last one is the expansion of Mr. Wallach's legal counsel for engagement as outside counsel for the question of the mayor's authority to reject the executive director position.
And where do you want that moved?
So I would like another bullet to be established after the training committee and for the two ad hoc committee motions to be placed there. The two motions at the beginning should be placed under accountability. The third motion should be placed under policy. And the last two motions should be made under a new ad hoc committee for outside counsel under training.
So the first two under accountability,
Yes.
the third under policy, and the fourth under the ad hoc committee.
First, fourth, and fifth. So that's moving. The only two that are on the agenda right now are the fourth and fifth one about the motions to extend Mr. Wallach's engagement and the establish a new conflict of interest. No, I'm moving that under ad hoc.
Which one? No, I'm asking, you said you were moving one under policy.
There's one under policy to amend a previous motion about the GPOs. That was the third motion and should be sent, it should be put
Okay,
under
so we
policy.
have a motion on the floor to move 5 motions, to move 2 of them under accountability, the third motion to move that to under a policy report, and the fourth and the fifth under the ad hoc committee portions of the agenda. Do we have a second?
I mean, these are the places where they belong. It's not, I did not have any input on the agenda.
And I want you guys to keep in mind that this agenda was sent out, and if there was any discussion or changes that needed to be made, someone could have
I
emailed
sent
us for
out
that.
my motions on Friday to Mr. Goodrick. You
We're waiting
also
for a
knew it.
sec- we're
Is
waiting
there a
for
second?
So
I'll second it.
Again,
Okay, is there any questions or debate?
I have to say, these are motions that are actually housed under the agendas, or under the committees. I see no real issue with placing them under the proper committees that they are in. And again, I'm a little bit concerned that we are using the order of motions and public comment in order to steer the direction of this meeting. I see no reason why they can't be properly placed in the committee reports that they're supposed to be housed.
Okay, Commissioner Benito?
I think I understand Commissioner Wong's wanting to move these motions. They obviously are connected to the topics of the committees. However, I don't think that any of these motions came to committee. And, my understanding is that these are motions that have all been drafted by Commissioner Wong as an individual. And so I think then moving them to under committee business, I feel a little bit ambivalent about that because they're not report outs from the committee, which is what the committee reports are for.
I will note for the record that no other committee in our rules, in our bylaws, the only committee that has to go through the actual committee before it comes to the commission is the Rules Committee. Multiple committees, such as the Policy Committee, have introduced motions that have never gone through the Policy Committee in the full commission.
But they were introduced under new
Please
business.
speak through the chair.
I don't, this is the business of the committee, so I'm not understanding why we are not putting these motions. They're not even on the agenda. I had spoken to the co-chairs 2 Fridays ago about these motions. They were aware of them. They were sent out to the executive director on Friday. So I'm not, are you saying that they should not even, there's, I think, 3 motions missing from the agenda. Are you saying that they don't even deserve to be on the agenda?
To the chair, I just wonder why they weren't considered. If they have 5 days to consider it, if it was already sent, I mean, either yes or no, or whatever the reason they weren't put on there. What would the reason be?
Through the chair, no one's saying that it's required that they go through the committee, but what Commissioner Benito was saying, that it's a best practice and it's representative of the committee's work, where the motions that we're discussing right now are reflective of one commissioner's work. And an individual commissioner has every right to bring motions to the floor, but we do that in new business, not a reflection of committee work.
Okay.
No. Could I address that issue?
No, you cannot. You have already received 2 times to speak. We are limited.
But I have to address what she's saying.
No, you do not have to. You spoke twice. You get 2 10-minute portions
So
to speak.
I never got my 10. Would anybody like to give me their time to speak? Would anybody like to give me my time to speak?
No, you cannot.
So I just would like, it's not even arguing.
Point of order, Commissioner Wong.
Would anybody like to give me their time to speak? And I can
We are
address
not,
what Miss.
you cannot yield time at this meeting.
So are we not putting these, I'm asking a question.
Commissioner Wong, you are out of order.
I'm not out of order. I'm asking, are we putting these on the agenda or no?
Point of order, Commissioner Wong, you have already spoken twice. You cannot speak again. So we
I've
are.
not spoken for 20 minutes.
Point of order. Can we call for the vote, please? Yes.
With 1 second, Commissioner Van Leer, did you have anything?
I was going to say that.
Okay, so we are going to call for the vote. Co-Chair Adams,
Nay.
Commissioner Benito,
Call for the vote.
Nay.
It's a motion for the previous question. You have to vote on that. You can't just say call for the vote and you can't.
Commissioner Chura.
Let me say, I want to interrupt for a point of order, which I'm allowed to speak on no matter if
We
I've been
are in
given.
the middle of a vote.
No, you're not in a vote. Martin, please look up what are we actually voted on. Point of clarification right now, Martin.
Point of inquiry, Martin.
Why are you trying to keep these motions off that I've sent?
Point of order,
off of this
Commissioner Wong,
commissioner?
you are not.
Why? I'm asking a question.
You have not been selected to speak.
Just move the motion up onto the agenda. You have tried, I have to say for the record that Commissioner Zayed told me that she would personally call multiple commissioners to stop this motion, and she would get Mr. Early
I did
to
not
send.
say that.
Yes, you did.
I did
I'm
not
saying
say that. That
let
is
me
a lie,
speak. No, that
Commissioner
is not a lie,
That
and
is
that
a
she
lie.
said that she would have Mr. Early
Point of
introduce
order.
a competing
Point of
motion.
order,
What is the
Commissioner Wong,
problem of
speaking
this
out of
motion?
turn.
What is the problem that having this motion on the agenda right now when you knew that it was going to be on the agenda and you're blocking motions just as you accused the other 2 co-chairs
Point
of
of
on
inquiry,
June 14th?
Martin, what are the rules on a commissioner speaking out of turn?
So,
The public needs to hear, so yeah, probably comes from comment. So, Mike.
the question was, the point of order was on whether she had spoken too many times.
Right.
The rule is speaking twice for 10 minutes. Obviously, we are not yielding time among commissioners. If the co-chairs would allow a majority vote on whether to allow her to continue speaking her time, that is allowed. But if that is not supported by the majority, then her time is 2 times for 10 minutes, and she's exceeded that.
Okay.
Spoken for 20 minutes. That's the problem.
It's up to 10 minutes, and if you do not speak your full 10 minutes, then
I was interrupted in that. Call for the vote then. But what is the vote actually on? Let's clarify that.
So the motion is to move 5 motions around on the agenda. You want the first 2 motions to be moved to accountability. You want the third to be moved to policy, and 4 and 5 to be under the ad hoc committees for those said motions.
As a point of clarification, I'm also asking why 3 of the motions that I sent are not on the agenda. Huh? Sorry. 3, I'm also asking why 3 of the motion I sent, but 2 of the motions I sent in the same batch are on the...
Commissioner Wong, that is out of order. That is
So I'm
not
making an
related to this
amendment.
vote. So we are going to move for the vote. Again, I'm going to call for the vote. Commissioner Adams?
Aye.
Commissioner...
Nay, sorry, nay.
Nay. Commissioner Benito?
Nay.
Commissioner Chura?
Aye.
Commissioner Alana Garrett Ferguson?
Aye.
Commissioner Kennedy?
Nay.
Commissioner Reeves?
Nay.
Commissioner Ridgway?
Aye.
Commissioner Van Leer?
Nay.
Commissioner Rodriguez?
Nay.
Commissioner Wong?
Aye.
And I, Commissioner Zayed, nay. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so the motion dies, 6 and 6. Okay.
I can make a motion to add the 2 motions that were not on the agenda, to add them to the new business section of new business was, which Commissioner Wong,
Can you name those motions for me?
It's
Yeah.
3 motions
It's 3 motions?
because it's the 2 for accountability and the 1 for policy.
Okay, so I believe those ones are... Where are we here? Okay. So the policy one, which it says, do you want to read the 3 ones that you said are not included? And we can, that's my motion, is to add them to the end of the agenda. Or to add them to
Yeah,
new
so
business.
it would be, just to answer your question, not exhausting my first 10 minutes, it's the motion to open OPS complaint review. It's the motion regarding police personnel files, and it's the motion to amend a previous GPO motion from the policy committee.
Thank you. So, I move to move those 3 motions to new business.
I'll second that.
Okay, is there any question or debate?
So question is that those go under, would go under new business then, correct? Yeah.
And what I would like to ask, point of clarification, in what order will they be in, since they are committed to, they are connected to committee work rather than, and then the 2 ad hoc committees. I mean, what I'm not understanding is I sent these motions out and other motions were put on the agenda and mine were not.
My motion was to move them to the end of new business, so it would be under motion to establish hiring committee, to answer your question.
Is there any further question or debate?
Can we call for the vote?
Yes, we can. Okay, so Co-Chair Adams,
Aye.
Commissioner Benito,
Aye.
Commissioner Chura,
Aye.
Commissioner Garrett Ferguson,
Aye.
Commissioner Kennedy,
Aye.
Commissioner Reeves,
Aye.
Commissioner Ridgway,
Aye.
Commissioner Van Leer,
Aye.
Commissioner Rodriguez,
Aye.
Commissioner Wong,
Aye.
and I, Sharina Zayed, aye, so that passes unanimously. So those will be added to the end of new business.
I do have a question. Martin, can you explain to me what are the procedures for if a commissioner has submitted a motion? I've never received any response from the co-chairs except Ms. Zayed's insistence on blocking this motion. What is the procedure for placing? I gave them ample notice, and my motions are not on the agenda according to where they're
Point of
supposed to be.
order, Commissioner Wong, we are in the middle of adopting the agenda.
And it's a
And
discussion.
and you have to speak to the chair. You cannot address.
Through the
Ms.
chair,
Martin.
through the chair to Martin, I would like to know what the Roberts Rule says about this when 2 co-chairs refuse the adoption of a motion or put the motion on the agenda.
Any commissioners can bring a motion at the adoption of the agenda to amend the agenda, which is what's taking place now.
Sorry. Hello, everybody. I am Martin. If you do not know me, I am an attorney working for the law department that the CPC is my client. A question was asked, how does a commissioner bring something new to the agenda? And just as you are witnessing, any commissioner can bring a motion to amend the agenda at the beginning of the meeting. And then that amendment is voted on by a majority of the commissioners. So that's it.
I do want to clarify, my question is, what is actually...
Please speak through the chair.
Through the chair, my question is not whether something can be brought new to the agenda when something has been previously asked to be on the agenda and no resistance has been given except Commissioner Zayed trying to personally block this. I'm speaking, please don't interrupt me. Personally block this motion. What is the reason that this has not been on the agenda? And Jason sent out an email on Friday that the agenda was dynamic and was to be changed. I don't understand why 2 of my motions are on the agenda, but 3 are not, when they were written as a bunch.
Yeah, with all due respect, Commissioner Wong, I want to address that. You sent those pretty late. We sent the agenda out yesterday. If they were not on there, you had time to make that. It was clearly an oversight.
It was not an oversight.
And they were just added. And like
that's not
Martin
true.
said, we can
through
always
the chair,
add them on the agenda.
Through the chair,
so
I had a conversation.
And I asked that we move on.
Through the chair, I do want to respond. Through the chair, I want to respond that 2 Fridays ago, I was in a meeting with the co-chairs and we discussed all these motions being on the agenda. They had foreknowledge of this. I sent the motion on Friday and Jason did not have the time to read them, to finalize them. Any delay was caused by the perfecting of these motions, and Ms. Zayed called me, I believe, on Thursday to try to block this motion, so she had pre-knowledge of this motion. She called other commissioners to try to block this motion.
Point of order,
I'm just saying that for the record.
You're making false accusations.
That's not false accusation.
And I am not going to allow it.
Okay, so point of order, can we please move on with the agenda?
We're going to move forward.
Thank you.
So,
our time is limited.
So are there any other agenda changes or additions? With that being said, I ask that we unanimously accept the agenda as is with those amendments and adoptions. Okay, so we accept the agenda. We're going to move on to meeting decorum. So meeting decorum, I ask that when commissioners are speaking, they speak through the chair. I also ask that we go in an order of how we want to speak beforehand. We pick an order with the person bringing the motion speaking first. And if someone wants to be acknowledged to speak next, that they wait until the commissioner that is currently speaking, until they're done to ask to be acknowledged. There's a list of guidelines on our agenda that on the back of our agenda for your review. I ask that you read those guidelines. They are in place for a reason, and following them will ensure a respectful and efficient process. There has been a few changes to public comment. During this meeting, I ask that all community members sign in for public comment, and we also have added a 3-minute comment limit to public comment. So I ask that you be respectful of that time limit so that everyone in the community gets a chance to speak. So that is the decorum. We're moving next to approval of the meeting minutes. Has everyone got an opportunity to review the meeting minutes? And if so, if you have any changes that you need to make or at this time?
I'll move to approve the meeting minutes.
Okay, is there a second?
A second.
Okay, so if there's no any changes that need to be done, I ask that we unanimously approve those meeting minutes. Commissioner Wong?
I think that the meeting minutes, again, were not sufficiently specific. I'm asking again for meeting minutes that and they were sent out. I know that the staff is busy, but they were sent out yesterday. I don't think that's sufficient time to look at the minutes, and it's been a long time also from our last meeting, so people are going to have delayed memory about what actually happened in the meeting. So I'm not sure what we need to do, because it seems to be a consistent issue of the lack of specificity and the timeliness of minutes of what we should do about it. But it seems like something, my understanding is from most other commissions and bodies that minutes are usually able to be disseminated within the week. I'm not sure what is necessary to be done about this. I'm happy to approve the minutes as is, but again, it doesn't help the community to have to watch a 2.5 hour, I don't know if it's 3 hour meeting in order to understand what happened.
Okay, so if there are no other comments, I move to unanimously approve the meeting minutes. Those are approved. We're going to move forward with the co-chair report. Co-chair Adams will give that report.
All right, so good evening, everyone. So the first thing I want to say is I want to say thank you all for trusting me with this position as a new co-chair in our second year on the commission. My hope is that we will be able to focus on the business that we have in front of us. There is a lot of it, and we need to do it. So I'm going to say I'm going to do my best to push this business forward, support commissioners, support committees, support work groups. But I do want to say thank you. But I also just want to remind us that we have a lot of work to do, and we need to get it done. So I think I've shared a lot of this with the commissioners already, but I just want to just put it out there for the public about we've had a series of meetings this past month with the DOJ and the monitoring team, the Civilian Police Review Board. So essentially, we met with the monitoring team. I don't even remember. I think it was a couple weeks ago. But essentially, we addressed some of our concerns about kind of where we were in terms of some of our records requests and other items that will pertain to how we work with the city, how we work with the other independent police entities in the city. So one of the things that we brought up our concern about the delay with the CPRB manual, because that seems to be connected to our relationship with them and our reception of records that we requested. So that was something that we brought up to them. We also sort of talked about some of the challenges that we're having in terms of the grants. It was something that we put out there because the grants are connected to the other police accountability work that we can do. So we brought that up. We also brought up some of our concerns about staffing, and we also became aware of some things. We became aware that there's a monitoring plan that will outline priorities that the federal monitor would want in regards to the consent decree and us prioritizing the right things in order to get into compliance with the consent decree. And then we also learned that the monitoring team will also be scheduling a meeting with the full commission as well. And it was overall a very, very positive meeting. And then we also had a few other meetings with them. Our meetings were really focused on a couple of things. They were focused on literally coming up with a memorandum of understanding so that we have an agreed upon process on how we get records, like when we request records. So if we make a records request, there's 7 days to object. If our request isn't clear, then we should be told that it's not clear within 7 days. There's 21 days to fulfill the records request. If for whatever reason the record request cannot be fulfilled at that time, we should be notified within 21 days. So we were just trying to work that out in terms of our records request, but also in terms of training. So there was some discussion about, how do we process the training once it goes through committee? Does it go from the training committee and then do we get to send that to the monitoring team for review, or does that training need to come back to the full commission for full commission approval before it goes there? So there are these discussions happening, and the process that we are pretty much agreed upon with the records. We're trying to come up with some type of similar structure for the training. And I think that if for matters of time, I can send some of this other stuff out to the commissioners, but I know that we have a lot of things on the agenda. But essentially, we're just trying to get processes in place to help expedite work and stop delays.
Okay, and so I just also wanted to just first say that this is our first time chairing a meeting in our official role as co-chairs, and we want to make sure that I know there's some differences with public comment, and we want to just ensure that everyone's voice is heard. And again, with that being said, I want to make sure that everyone knows that in order to speak, we want you to sign in. That way, once you speak, we'll have your name. That way, if we can't answer something right here, we can get back to you later and provide you with those answers, because I am vested in making sure that the public's voice is heard, but not only heard, but also included in decision-making processes. And having your names on this paper and being able to get back to you on key topics and concerns that you have, I feel like will ensure that. But again, I just want to say thank you to the community for being here today, and thank you for my fellow commissioners for electing me in this role as co-chair. It is both an honor and a privilege to be in this position, representing not just myself, but the values and integrity of the commission, and representing my strong belief in community service, but also families that have been directly affected by police misconduct. So I just wanted to thank you all, and let's move forward with this work. You could do that.
Okay, so really quickly, I think we all know that a few weeks ago, we released a statement regarding the appointment of 2 police commanders, one for the 4th District and the second for the Bureau of Special Services, where the Charter 115.5 states that the Police Commission shall be involved in the interviewing and recommending of those commanders. So we received the response from the city. They acknowledged the error, and we have received what we need to do this work. And so we'll do this later, I think, in our new business. But I'm going to suggest some things about how we can get that work done. The city did request that we, I wouldn't say requested, but they are suggesting that we can get all this back to them by March 29th. I think that we should do our best to meet that deadline, because we also have to acknowledge that the 4th District is, they cannot be without a commander for too long. There's too much work that needs to happen in that district. So I'm gonna push us to do that. We'll ask for volunteers, and also with the Special Bureau Service. So I just wanna say, I'm hoping that, an oversight on the city's part can result in us building a better working relationship with the city so that we can meet the charter and meet the consent decree.
Great. So with that, we ask that any commissioners that are interested in helping with that process to just email Executive Director Goodrick and CC the co-chairs on that to let us know that you are interested. And if there are any community members that are interested in assisting with the selection process, you can email us at clecpc@clevelandohio.gov. Again, that's clecpc@clevelandohio.gov, and that email address is in the agendas to let us know that there is interest in helping with the selection of the commander process.
Do you have a date you want people to email you?
Maybe within the next week within the next week, so we can get started on this.
Through the chair, I do want to remind that even the information that we've gotten for the commanders, there's information that needs to be redacted, so we have to be very careful about including community members. I also want to ask, do we have all of the information that we need to what the actual hiring committee for the commanders looked at? Because my understanding is the past disciplinary history and the full disciplinary history of the commanders and the candidates are assessed. We currently, to my knowledge, do not have that information. What is your plan to get that information from the city so we can make a full and accurate assessment? At this point, it's not that I think it's inaccurate to say that there's no police commander for those districts. These are interim police commanders. I'm sure they have somebody there doing the work. But again, if the city's transgression is as egregious as you claimed in your letter to the city, then I think we should do a full assessment of the candidates rather than just a perfunctory look at some I've looked through the information. It's just a cover letter and some kind of sheet that assesses the commanders. There's no information given beyond that. I am not aware of the history of these commanders, so I just would like to know what we are actually doing here, because I personally do not want to be involved in something that is just a makeshift type of attempt at assessing these commanders, but not a sincere attempt that we're supposed to do under the charter and possibly under the consent decree.
Okay, Commissioner Wong, so we do have the redacted files, and this is our first time doing this, so we are creating the process, so we get to determine what that process looks like. So that is why we are asking that if any commissioners would like to be involved and participate in this process, to please let us know, so that if you do have those concerns and you want to, everything you want to be included in this process, your voice can be heard, and we can do that.
Through the chair, I'm not sure if my question was answered. Do we have all of the materials that the hiring committee for these commanders had when they made the decision on these commanders? And are we attempting to get that information to make a full and thoughtful recommendation of these commanders? Because otherwise, it seems like it's rather for show.
Yeah, to my understanding, we do have all of the necessary documents, and as we go through the process, if there's any further information we need, we can request that. One moment, Commissioner Adams.
I just wanted to add that we are also right now dealing with the fact that, you know this, you have been requesting records for almost a year now. We have not gotten disciplinary records. You're still waiting for yours. So from what I've seen, there's another layer that we're going to add. What was requested was all materials that pertain to the interviewing and recommending of those commanders. That was the records request that was made. And we're also, another layer we're adding is we're going to add a community meeting. We're going to go into the 4th District and we're going to bring the people who we think are highly qualified or top candidates, and we're going to bring them to the community, and we're going to allow the community to have a voice and ask questions and have a say in who we're going to select. So I think that, our role here, because we are the Community Police Commission, I think our role here is to make sure that the district of the city of Cleveland, with perhaps the most challenges with crime, that those citizens of that community have a voice in who is going to be their commander. So I think that, we cannot let perfect be the enemy of good. This district, it needs its commander. The community needs to have a say in it. We are the Community Police Commission, and I think that is our duty.
Just a point of clarification. When the city responded to us that we just had to take our laptop somewhere to get the software needed to see everything, once we get that software, will we then have access to the disciplinary records of officers?
I don't know if Chief Ethics Officer Delonte Spencer Thomas would like to comment, but my understanding, and I could be wrong, because I don't think that we're going to have access to discipline records. My understanding is that those records are housed in those systems like LEADS and things like that have been all complicated due to the fact that we were taking from under the Public Safety Department. So I do not think that we'll get those records. I think my understanding of that is it's just meant to secure our laptops because we will have sensitive information.
So is there any way that we can ask the city to include, just for these candidates, a copy of their disciplinary records?
To the commissioner, I think we can make the request. I don't know what will happen with the request, but I think we can make the request.
Okay.
Through the chair, I just want to read into the record from the consent decree, paragraphs 317 and 318, that provide the contours for all promotions within the Division of Police. CDP will develop and implement fair and consistent promotion practices that comport with the requirements of this agreement and result in the promotion of officers who are effective and professional. In determining whether the officer is likely to be effective and appropriate for the position to which he or she is being considered for promotion, the appointing authority will consider the following factors where relevant, and this is what I'm concerned about, is that we don't have all this information. A, effective use of community and problem-oriented policing strategies, the number and circumstances of uses of force, an officer's service as a FTO or field training sergeant, disciplinary record, problem-solving skills, interpersonal skills, support for departmental integrity measures, and pending disciplinary process. It seems that we are missing about half of that information for what I've been able to look through in the promotion packet that was given. So I'm asking again, are we attempting to make a decision on the promotion of these commanders with half the information that is required under the consent decree? And I don't think it's just about giving a voice to the community. The community relies upon us to get the concrete information we need to make the right decision about these promotions and to promote people that will serve them and be able to lead the people in their battalions and districts and precincts in ways that are that serve the community's interests.
Commissioner Wong, at this point, we aren't attempting to do anything. At this point, we are gathering people who would like to be included in the process, and we are establishing a process. So that is where we are at right now.
I'm asking again for the fourth time, do we intend to get this information and request it from the division?
You are free to join that work group to discuss.
You're not answering my question.
Commissioner Benito?
I think for the sake of moving this meeting along, what I would think is a good idea is I think that your desire to have a thorough process is good, and what I would suggest is, if you feel like there are items missing, that you would, in addition to indicating whether you're interested in joining the group that will be doing this process, that you send a list of documents you would like to see included. I think that your concern is valid, and I would suggest that we focus on solutions, such as saying we would like to see, Commissioner Garrett Ferguson suggested, that we request the disciplinary records of the officers that are candidates.
Okay, so we are going to move forward on the agenda to establishing executive committees. So Co-Chair Adams and the Executive Director and I had discussed monthly meetings between committee heads to just discuss the work, to make sure we're all on the same page. So what we are going to do is divide the committees up to the committees that are related to police work and the more administrative committees. So tonight, I just want us to discuss that and possibly put forward motions to establish these executive committees. John, did you want to say?
I guess the idea behind it is I think that we need to do a better job of how we communicate. And I think that if we have sort of like a tiered level of communication, that if the committee chairs can, because sometimes we're in these meetings, it's really not the best way sometimes to get into the details of things because there's usually a lot of stuff on the agenda. So the hope is that if we meet monthly, it'll allow committee chairs to not do like double work. So I know there was one time we had like 2 discipline groups. It will allow us to collaborate better, I think, because if training might find something that they want to do with training and then they need to coordinate with policy or something. Those type of things can happen. You can coordinate with rules. So I think the idea was that so the committee chairs will get firsthand, we can talk with the co-chairs, and then that will allow those committee chairs to kind of see the full commission a little bit better and then kind of pass that information down and inform their committee work. So I think that was the idea behind it, was to sort of try to create another structural mechanism to keep as many commissioners as informed as possible.
Commissioner Ridgway.
To the chair, I just want to make sure I understand, because I know there's been discussion for a while about bringing all the committee chairs together so that we're all on one page at some point. But are you also saying that you're going to separate those committee chairs by function or responsibility?
Well, yes and no. The separation is sort of like a plan B. We don't know if we're going to have quorum. So we have 6 committees, and then ideally we want all the committee chairs together. But we also want to make sure that we don't have quorum, because then any decisions or anything that's made in that meeting then becomes a decision for the full commission, because there'll be quorum.
So to continue my question to the chairs, I'm trying to process this a little bit when you talk about a quorum. So are you separating the committees on internal standing committees versus police committees? Because if you separate them that way, I think that would be a better way to probably prevent a quorum.
Mm-hmm.
But to separate police committees, when all of the work is interconnected,
right,
at some point, either way you look at it, I don't know how you could separate policy, accountability, community, whatever. I can see separating standing committees from police committees. I just wanted to put that on the table.
It would be the first scenario. So it would be like, the more administrative internal committees would be one executive committee, and then it would be the police committee. So outreach, policy, accountability, training, those would be under one. Okay.
Then the administrative.
Thank you.
The administrative one would be rules, budget and grants, and
maybe
the internal
internal
training.
training.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Is there, I want to know, because in most kind of commissions that have executive committees, they're able to vote on things without the rest of the commission. Is that your intent for the executive committee?
That is not
here?
our intent. It is strictly for communication purposes.
Okay, could that be memorialized when we form these committees so we all share the same memory about our intent?
I think that the way that most groups work is that you have to bring the people to the table, and then you decide how you're going to do things and what your goals are. I think, as Co-Chair Zayed said, the only intention behind this is not to pass any business or anything. It's just to increase communications, because we definitely can use improved communications within this commission. And so that is the goal, is to recognize a weak spot and then to try to come up with some type of solution that addresses that weak spot.
Without quorum, I don't think the group could vote on anything. Anyway.
I'm just saying that in most executive committees, they have special voting powers. I'm just asking them. So we had to be careful when we make this executive committee, because we are still under Robert's rules for most of our scenarios, that we carve out that they do not have the special power.
So I guess, do we have a motion to form these executive committees?
I'll move to form 2 executive committees, an administrative committee and a second police committee that would be comprised of the co-chairs and the committee chairs in each category.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any question, discussion, or debate?
Could I, was this even on? I'm wondering, through the chair to Martin, could you maybe explain a little bit more what the point of executive committees are in Robert's rules? Because I think this is kind of sprung upon a lot of us. I know it's been discussed as an option, but I mean, and the desire is to improve communication, which it seems to me that you can just meet. I'm not sure why an executive committee needs to be formed. You could just, all the committee heads could just meet. So I'm not understanding what the need for the actual designation is. And I'm very concerned that it's going to be used to coalesce power. And I'm a committee chair, but I believe in the democratic voice of the commission, and I want to make sure that every commissioner's voice is heard. And I do know that most commissions that exists. An executive committee has special privileges to move things forward in certain circumstances. So I don't know if you need more time, Martin, to think about this, but I just wanted to get your take.
It's an administrative thing. I don't need to comment on it. It's not a legal question. It's an admin thing. So you guys can decide.
So to the chair, to address Commissioner Wong's concern, I cannot present this, but I hope that someone will be willing to present a friendly amendment where we will put in the motion that there will be no vote authority or whatever your concern is. Let's put that in the motion so that we can address the concern. Because the reality is, there's nothing better than face-to-face communication with people. So I think we need it. I think your concern can be addressed in a friendly amendment if someone's willing to make it.
I can make an amendment, but my other concern is that we're basically taking the committee work that should be presented in a public meeting and having discussions behind closed doors about these things. Please don't. I appreciate, if the decorum rules apply to everybody, they would apply to you also, Co-Chair Zayed, so I appreciate not reacting by laughing at this.
I can smile. I'm smiling at you.
You're interrupting me. But what I'm saying is that why are we forming this committee in order to speak to each other? It seems I'm very opposed. There have been committee chairs that have had closed-door meetings with the city. I don't think this is fair to the community. I don't think this is fair to the other commissioners to be excluded from meetings, that they can't participate either as an audience member and the public cannot see what is actually happening and being discussed. I don't believe, I can't believe that we're making a motion to make more meetings that are closed to the public.
Commissioner Wong, we actually have discussed opening these meetings up to the public, so that is incorrect. Yeah, that's it. So thank you.
Why don't we make the amendments for that?
Commissioner Kennedy?
Thank you. I'm also happy to make the friendly motion, but I really want to dispel this notion that the intent behind this is to be secretive or consolidate power or anything like that. That is absolutely not true. It's to increase communication and honestly increase productivity and output, right? We're here to do a job. The co-chairs are doing a great job at making sure that we're aligned, we're ready to go, we know what's happening. The co-chairs are on their toes, they're not on their heels, and to suggest otherwise is just not true. Oh, and I'll make the friendly amendment to add to this motion that this executive committee will not have any voting power. Thank you.
Also the friendly amendment that every meeting of this executive session will be open to the public and to other commissioners? Okay. I'll make a friendly amendment to make sure that to amend her amendment, because I can make an amendment on an amendment that.
Point of inquiry?
Oh, is it even seconded? Because I can make another amendment.
Seconded.
And then you can make your amendment then.
So I'm making another amendment that we limit the.
We have to vote on this one first.
No, you can make an amendment right away. To make an additional amendment that the executive committee does not have any voting powers to take any that overrides the will of the commission, and that the executive committee will be meeting all of its meetings will be open to other commissioners and to the public.
Your amendment is specifically related just to it being open to the public. Commissioner Kennedy's amendment is specifically related to the no voting power. So first you guys have to second her amendment and then vote, and then it'll work its way backwards, okay? So is there a second to her amendment?
Second, yeah.
Debate.
Wait.
Okay, is there any questions or debate on Terry's friendly amendment?
Vote the amendments and then it goes.
We're moving it back,
Yeah,
right?
you have to move it backwards. So Commissioner Wong's is first.
Commissioner Wong's.
And that is that all meetings are open to the public?
Yes.
The executive needs to be open to the public.
Second.
Okay, is there any questions or debate about Commissioner Wong's wanting to make the meetings public?
To the co-chairs, I just need some clarification. So will making those meetings open to the public, would that require posting them? Would that require following up with minutes? What does that mean in terms of the overall scope of how those committees report back, because there has always been a leadership group. Those are the two co-chairs and the executive director. We definitely kept notes, action notes from those meetings. That's where the agendas were established, but at no point were they advertised as being open to the public or the minutes distributed broadly throughout the public. I just need to understand the structure for those meetings.
This is what I will say. I just want to increase communication. I always take notes. I'm more than willing to share my notes. If they need to be open to the public, there's nothing secretive going on. Then open it up to the public. I just need us to be more efficient and more productive. So whatever we need to do to get us there, you're not going to get any resistance from me, because there's no ill will or malintent behind what I'm suggesting. So whatever y'all need to do, whatever we need to do to get this through so that we can start this work, you will have my 100% support on it.
To the co-chair, my last comment. This is no different than what has existed previously. There was a regular meeting, I won't say monthly, but there was a regular meeting, not with this commission, but with the previous commission, where the co-chairs, the committee chairs met periodically with the leadership to just what you're talking about, for communication, to understand what's going on, to connect those dots, when work overlapped, just to make sure that there wasn't duplication. Not this commission.
Right. Was it public when they did it?
I don't know. To the director, executive director.
There was a meeting where commissioners were able to talk in an administrative forum, and that was ruled by the previous law director that it didn't have to be public. However, these meetings most likely will meet either a quorum of a committee, because we have so much cross-pollination, or and therefore it will be mandated. Plus, in our rules, we define a committee as anything more than 3 commissioners, right? So it automatically makes it a committee, which will make it follow Ohio Sunshine Law. So yes.
Okay, is there any other further questions, discussion, or debate? If not, we're going to move for the vote to make these meetings open to the public. Commissioner, Co-Chair John Adams.
Aye.
Commissioner Benito.
Aye.
Commissioner Chura.
Aye.
Commissioner Garrett Ferguson.
Aye.
Commissioner Kennedy.
Aye.
Commissioner Reeves.
Aye.
Commissioner Ridgway.
Aye.
Commissioner Rodriguez.
Aye.
Commissioner Van Leer.
Aye.
Commissioner Wong.
Aye.
And I, Commissioner Zayed, vote aye. So that passed with a unanimous decision. We are going to move forward to Commissioner Kennedy's friendly amendment. It was seconded. Is there any open discussion or debate or questions about her friendly amendment? That these committees will not have any voting power.
Has it been seconded?
It has been seconded. Okay, so if there's no further discussion, I'll go forward with the vote. Co-Chair Adams.
Aye.
Commissioner Benito.
Aye.
Commissioner Chura.
Aye.
Commissioner Garrett Ferguson.
Aye.
Commissioner Kennedy.
Aye.
Commissioner Reeves.
Aye.
Commissioner Ridgway.
Aye.
Commissioner Rodriguez.
Aye.
Commissioner Van Leer.
Aye.
Commissioner Wong.
Aye.
And I, the co-chair, Zayed, vote aye. So that passed as well, with everyone saying yes. So now we're back to the initial motion on the floor to form these executive committees. So is there any question, debate, or discussion about forming these executive committees? Okay, so we'll call for that vote. Co-Chair Adams.
Aye.
Commissioner Benito.
Aye.
Commissioner Chura.
Aye.
Commissioner Garrett Ferguson.
Aye.
Commissioner Kennedy.
Aye.
Commissioner Reeves.
Aye.
Commissioner Ridgway.
Aye.
Commissioner Rodriguez.
Aye.
Commissioner Van Leer.
Aye.
Commissioner Wong.
Aye.
And myself, I vote yes, so that passed. Thanks, guys.
If I could request, since the other commissioners, when they put up motions in the future, if the co-chairs can write out their motions and send them out before, because this title is not really fully descriptive of what you intend. So if we're being held to the same account, and if we're not allowed to put motions onto the agenda, I think the co-chair should be writing out their motions for, just also for the clarity of the public.
Well, this initially started off as a discussion, so it could have just been a discussion and we could have moved forward if nobody wanted to present anything.
Well, I think also, I think it would be good to prepare if your intent, because we've had a lot of discussion.
We
that
did
could
not have
been.
any intent, it was just a discussion.
I also do want to note that Mr. Van Leer's motion was just sent out on Monday. Mine was sent out before that point, so not sure why his is on.
Okay, we are moving forward with the agenda. So the next item of business on the agenda is office hours and open meetings for the public and commissioners to have with the co-chairs. So basically, on Mondays from 3:30. On Mondays from 3:30 to 4:30, the co-chairs meet with the executive director for a leadership meeting. What we propose is that from 4:30 to about 5 or 5:30, we will be open to meeting with community members, stakeholders, and other commissioners to address questions and concerns. We're essentially establishing office hours. So if anyone has any concerns, you want to talk to us, voice your opinions, we will be available during those times for you guys after our leadership meeting. So we will post that on the website for you all, but we wanted to just let you know that we thought that would just be a good addition to our Monday and to our work with trying to engage with community. Commissioner Ridgeway?
To the co-chair, just a quick question. Would public members have to schedule those meetings, or they can just walk in during those hours?
Oh, go ahead.
I mean, I feel like whatever works for the community members. So we are going to be here, but obviously, if there's a matter with another community member or maybe a commissioner, then they might have to wait. But whatever, if they want to set it up, I think we are open to that. But if they just want to pop in, I think when you go to college, that's what office hours are. The professor's just sitting there and you just show up and they're there.
And this is a new process, so I guess, I think initially it might be like first come, first serve. And then, if in the future we see that we need to establish like a process for scheduling appointments or anything like that, but we'll just play it by ear to see what works for the community. Okay, so go ahead.
I think this is a great idea, and it might be good to also add a virtual option. So like when I've done office hours in the past, I've been like in my office, but then I have like my Zoom link open. So if someone who's not in town or whatever wants to still meet with me, they can just click on my Zoom link and, my face pops up.
Great suggestion.
So, but this is great. Thank you for setting this up.
Okay. Is there anything anyone wants to comment on that? Okay, so we're going to move forward with our executive director report from Jason Goodrick, interim executive director.
Good evening, commissioners. I'm going to keep it short and simple. We have 3 items to cover: budget, records requests, and staffing from the administrative side. As you are aware, I was mandated to go before council based on a vote of the commission to ask for a $150,000 increase related to our grants program. We did not get an answer at council that day, if the video is available, but it did not seem that council was open to that. They are in reconciliation now. I have not seen anything in reconciliation where they make budget adjustments related to the commission at this time. But they have to have the budget passed before April 1st. So there is no definitive answer or official answer yet regarding that. Records requests. So there are 6 outstanding records requests to the city. On at least one of those requests regarding the disciplinary records of officers, they are filing for relief in federal court with 2 different things. One is related to the volume of that, and their relief they're asking for through the federal judge, Solomon Oliver, is either extending the time
on some of those records, and also some of the records they believe do not have to be produced based on an argument around Ohio Leads and CGIS access, which is Criminal Justice Information System, which is federally owned. However, the DOJ will most likely introduce a motion. They made their position stance clear in an email that they are in opposition to that motion and the argument that Leads and CGIS information applies to some of our records. So it remains to be seen, but what that means is that the only person who can decide it at this point is Judge Oliver, how this will move forward. However, other records requests are moving forward. There are monthly meetings as the co-chair, or sorry, weekly meetings as the co-chairs mentioned, where the DOJ, the city, the monitor, and the CPC have conversations about the flow of this information. So that's the update on the records. And then staffing, we had one job posted for community engagement, senior communications and engagement specialist. That job closed on 2/16. It said we had 20 applicants, but when I log in, I can't see any of them yet, so I'm working to reconcile that, but we're hoping to get interviews started after we review the applications next week, so probably within 2 weeks' time, we'll start interviewing candidates for that vacancy. And Co-Chair Zayed has agreed to be the commissioner this time. Each interview process that when we've hired someone, we've had a commissioner sit on it, on the committee that we form here at staff. We had for Charles Donaldson for our assistant administrator position, and Co-Chair Ridgway for the hiring of our assistant director of law. So that model has worked really good. It's for transparency between staff and the commission to make sure that there is a representative there for each of these interviews. So that is all I have. Thank you.
So we're moving forward to our committee status report. The first committee will be the Police Accountability Committee, chaired by Commissioner Terry Wong.
Thank you so much. I'll try to keep this brief because we have lots of motions to get through. Just an update on the Brady Giglio Committee. We have two work groups. The Brady Giglio Committee is now is finalizing its coding and rubric, and we're moving on to, we've gone through the 2022 disciplinary notices for the officers, and now we're going through the 2023 for the officers. So that committee is moving forward very well. The second work group is the disciplinary work group, and we have now completed our first revision of the manual of rules, which is the basic kind of Bible and Constitution, the Bill of Rights kind of rules for the Division of Police. We will now move on to an assessment of the discipline matrix. So we again welcome anybody from the community that is interested in those two topics. Other than the two motions I'm going to put up in new business, the Accountability Committee has begun finalizing the disciplinary charts, the flow charts. We have a project to map out all of the disciplinary processes, the various kind of sundry kind of maze-like processes that anybody who even, the commanders may agree, have not been fully elucidated. We will be mapping those out and finalizing those charts. The last item of business, I just want to give an update that we have received 2 pending appeals according to the charter of citizens wanting our intercession on 2 cases. And I want to give an update that the first one was from, Ms. Johnson, and that was received on Donreza Johnson. That was OPS complaint 2023-01. It was received on December 26th of last year. A records request was made from the executive director on 12/28. The records were received from OPS on 2/15, so that's definitely something that we will need to work on. And that executive director Goodrick has completed his initial assessment on 2/27. I do want to note that in our procedure 2.4.4, we have a standard policy of 15 days to do that initial assessment. I will have further discussion with Mr. Goodrick on this because we do want to comply by that deadline. And I don't think that the initial assessment is not an assessment of the evidence of the case, whether it is a viable case in that evidentiary domain. It is simply, has it gone through all of its gates? Has it gone through the right path? Is it in the proper disposition to be received by the commission? Although we're having some struggles with records requests, I believe generally that initial assessment can be made without those records. So I'm hoping that we can, Mr. Goodrick, be more timely in those in that assessment. The second complaint is involving Mr. Antoine Tolbert, received on February 1st and on February 2nd by Chasing Justice LLC. The ED reached out to Mr. Tolbert on 2/16 at my behest, and the records were requested by Mr. Goodrick on the 19th, unfortunately without my direction, so that's why I'm making this new motion. But that update, we'll talk more about that motion when we get to it. The last update I have is that we sent a letter regarding Mr. Tolbert's case. Just to give you a little bit of background, Mr. Tolbert's case against Sergeant Lance Henderson, Group 3 discipline was unanimously recommended for 2 counts of improper stop and improper arrest of Mr. Tolbert, and Group 1 discipline was recommended for an improper tow of Mr. Tolbert's car. So that was adjudicated on May 23rd of 2023.
I don't think this is necessary.
I'm sorry, but I'm explaining the letter to people. I mean, I don't think you can deem what is not necessary about explaining why we are writing a letter.
Can we discuss that under new business? This seems to be out of order.
How is it out of order when it's the accountability has sent this letter? You seem to have a concern about this particular case. That was, so on January 15th of 2024, unfortunately, Carrie Howard has departed from the CPRB's decision by clearing Lance Henderson of the charges of improper stop and tow. So essentially, we've written a letter, the co-chairs and the accountability committee, to ask that CPRB affirm its authority that is mandated by City Charter 115.4. That is the section before 115.5. And this has been in effect since November 2nd of 2021, that they are allowed to affirm their decision absent clear and convincing evidence of the findings of recommendations. So we wrote a letter and we were asking CPRB, even though Mr. Tolbert has petitioned to us, we would like CPRB to thoroughly assess whether it's clear and convincing evidence has been provided by Safety Director Howard for his departures. And absent this evidence, we would like the board to affirm its findings of improper stop and also of the Group 1 violation, improper tow. So we sent that letter. Mr. Tolbert has also appeared at the recent CPRB meeting attesting that he would like this to be affirmed. So that is a letter that I'm happy to share. If you could go on record, co-chairs, I would like to share this letter with the public and post it on the website, but Mr. Goodrick said he required your permission to do so. Do you give permission that we put this public letter that was sent to CPRB on the website?
At this time, this is out of order.
How is it out of order? This is a letter.
At this time, I ask that you keep, attach this to the new business and the motion.
This is not new business. This has already been completed business for the committee.
We're going to move forward. Are you finished with your
I'm asking for a yay or nay from the co-chairs. Will you publish this letter for the public?
We are currently working with CPRB.
Will you publish this letter that has been sent on February 26th?
Once it's the correct time, we will. We are currently working with them right now, and once it's time to post it, we will.
So but this is a public letter that's already been sent, so it's a public record.
They can request it publicly.
So then I will be posting this letter on my own account, but I'm going on record that the 2 co-chairs refused to post this letter. That's already been sent.
So to the chair, to the commissioner, to the public, we had a conversation with the CPRB on Monday. There are things that they have to do on their end.
That's not true.
It is true. You weren't at the meeting.
Well, I know
And so
the
all I want
charter.
to say is that out of respect for them and the efforts to build collaborative relationships that are trusting, we are taking the stance that Co-Chair Zayed stated. You don't have to agree with it. We are 13 commissioners. We don't have to agree, but we also have to respect when people provide explanations. We might not like the explanations, but that's what it is. So my answer to your question that I don't have to answer is no, not right now, because it could jeopardize some things that we're trying to build so that we can work together as independent police entities to push this work forward. So that is the answer.
And also to that, they have agreed with our request so far. They are working on what we asked for. So why not give them time? We're trying to build collaborative relationships up until this point. Things that you have tried have been very unsuccessful.
No, it's not true.
We currently had a successful meeting that was collaborative, and we left there with a plan and
What is it?
strategy to move things forward and not just argue and talk about the problems, but actually generate solutions. So I ask that your line of questioning, whatever show you're trying to put on here, not hinder the process that Executive Director Goodrick, Interim Executive Director Goodrick, Co-Chair Adams, and I have made these past 2 weeks. And with that, do you have no questions?
You
do
are.
Do you have anything else to add to your
I have
point?
a point of order because you're impugning my character by saying that I'm making a show. No, please, you can't interrupt me.
Commissioner
what
Wong,
I'm saying,
do you have anything else to add?
I do have something to add. This is not a show. This is what is required to us by the charter.
Do you have any
and
more
what
updates
processes?
from your committee?
I would like to know what processes.
Point of order.
Since this affect directly, this is directly affecting the
report.
community, the accountability committee. What are you actually building in processes? I'm asking for an update on this petition, which is overdue to the commission.
Please send me an email with your request. This
I'm
is not
asking
the
in a
time.
public
You are
meeting.
out of order.
Why do I have to send an email when the public deserves to know what is happening on this case?
Hear what else is going on with the commission.
The public also deserves to know what is happening on this
Wong,
case.
do you have any additional information
So you
on your report?
are requiring me to write
Okay,
me
with that
an
being
email.
said, we're going to move on to Budget and Grants Committee. Commissioner Alana Garrett Ferguson is the chair pro tem of that committee. Do you have an update for us?
Yeah, I'll be very brief. At this time, we are reviewing the application and we are going over the scoring and rubric method. We have split into two groups. So myself and Co-Chair Adams are looking at the application and Commissioner Kate Kennedy is looking at the rubric and redoing that. Also, which I'll have more information about because we'll discuss at our next Budget and Grants Committee. We discuss what it looks like for us to get a parliamentary, I think, for this one, and what also for us to look at possibly allowing another organization to help us with the grants, to help us with some of that workload that we have. So all of that will have more information after the Budget and Grants Committee, but we are looking at additional resources to actually help the commission and what other monies that we have to put forward for the grants project.
Awesome.
Any other questions?
To the chair, I just wanted to add that we left Commissioner Van Leer out, and he's been working, looking at organizations and maybe some possibilities of like how we could redo it by looking at existing organizations. He also was helping with the rethinking how we do interviews as well. So I didn't want to leave him out.
Okay.
That was it.
Okay, great. Thank you for that. We're going to move forward to Police Policy Committee with Commissioner Pete Van Leer as the chair.
Great, thank you. So we've been meeting, and some of the major top-line updates are we've been working on the ShotSpotter GPO, and we're getting closer to having that finalized, hopefully at the next committee meeting. We have the work group working on it, and we are going to be talking about it next committee meeting, and then we'll bring it forward to the full commission, I hope, at our next meeting. We're starting to look at Fusus, the new technology that the division is using that kind of unites all the technology, the cameras, ShotSpotter, and a lot of the that technology. So we're looking at what that means and how do we approach that. There's no GPO on it. There was a divisional notice released back in November, I believe. Another GPO that we're looking at is the post-traumatic incident protocol, and there's been progress made on that, and we'll be bringing that forward. We've been invited. We have 2 commissioners who, and I have to respond to the division. There's a technology assistance committee that's been formed, and we are going to have, I believe, Commissioner Rodriguez and Commissioner Wong, who are going to be serving and going to those. I think they're quarterly meetings.
That's me.
Garrett Ferguson, what did I say?
Rodriguez.
Rodriguez, sorry. Garrett Ferguson, you're sitting right here and looking at you. Garrett Ferguson and Commissioner Wong, my apologies. We'll be serving on that, and we're establishing a work group to look at the vehicle pursuits and pursuit investigation team that have been sent to us from the division. So that's the major update. I have in your packets, in your file of motions, there is a motion regarding divisional notices. We did not vote this out of the committee, but we've had a couple of months we discussed it in depth last week at our committee meeting, and we got some feedback from 2 commissioners, 2 committee members on that. So if you look at that in front of you, really it's the next step in the GPO process we approved in December. That looks at divisional notices that fall under our scope and the division must seek, seek pre-approval from the commission. And that list, and I have extra copies for members of the community. I think all of you have this. A version of this was first, I think, sent out in December, and I've shared it a couple more times since then, but if you haven't seen it, it's in front of you. Police community relations, police accountability, including Office of Professional Standards and Civilian Police Review Board operations, not including monthly corrective action notices, bias-free policing, search and seizure, including surveillance technology, officer recruitment and training, not including scheduling of annual continuing professional training, that is, in-service training, use of force, data collection and retention, crisis intervention team, interaction with specific communities, including youth, people with disabilities, people experiencing mental illness or substance use, and implementation of other initiatives, programs, and activities intended to support constitutional policing and that fall under the scope of Section 115.5 of the City Charter. So that is the motion I would like to put forward right now. If I get a second.
Second.
Are there any questions?
Mr. Van Leer, I think I won't be exhaustive. In the policy meeting and through also emails I've sent you, I've expressed a lot of concern about this list. It has not changed since that discussion started in December. If I may note that I thank you for adding the word pre-approval, because I don't want us to get rid of all of our authority on these notices. And I'm still concerned that in the second bullet, under police accountability, not including monthly corrective action notices, I don't know if that is actually 100% in the purview of policy that directly affects accountability. And it's not just a hypothetical. There was in recent memory, the division, in order to, I guess, to boost morale, had taken off the names and badge numbers of the police officers that were receiving corrective action notices. This is very, very bad. I don't expect Commander Carney to speak for the division. I'm hoping that will not happen again, but that is not something that we can allow the division to do without our approval. And I frankly think that should be under accountability. There was no discussion with accountability over this list. That is one issue I have with this list. The other issue is that there are also notices if there is an adaptation or renewal in like a state law or Supreme Court ruling, that my understanding, and Commander Carney confirmed this in our meeting, that officers would be given kind of an explanation of this new law and its applicability to their work. They would be read 10 times this law. If that law is not portrayed in an accurate manner, it will directly impact the officer's ability to do their work, but also the disciplinary hearing later on. Generally, I have concerns. Could I ask a question? How was this list created? because there's about over 350 notices per year from the division. They don't have a banner that says this is this type of directive, this is this type of notice. They don't fall into easy categories. So I think that they are descriptive, but could you explain to us how this set of where and when this list came up and how did this arose and who were involved in the creation of this list?
So this was created in collaboration with Division of Police with Commander Carney and his team, and it's pulled. The guidance on it was really from Section 115.5. And then, in fact, this was an initial list was sent out in December, I believe, either to the committee or to the entire commission. Sent out again in January and again in February, early February. It has, in fact, changed. We've added, as you noted, it went from approval to pre-approval. We've added CIT. We've added the interactions with specific communities. So it has, in fact, changed. And there were members of the Accountability Committee in the Policy Committee who have had an opportunity to look at this. And, the motion that I put forward does, in fact, allow revisions. So we're not painted into a corner on this. It's a living process. So that's my response.
I did want to know, and I appreciate, your continued efforts with both of you for CIT, but the problem, I think, and the solution I propose is that we actually just look at the notices from last year. We've never had these notices given to us since January. We've only started getting these notices. I have no idea really what the diversity of these notices say. And I don't think they fall, again, under easy categories. And to keyword something like CIT, I mentioned in the meeting, there was a recent notice that literally all it said was CIT was moved from field operations to the Special Bureau. So under this motion right now, even because of that keyword, that directive would need to be approved by us. So we see the problem that I think this list needs a little bit more work, and it can only happen if we get a diversity of all the notices. I've tried, so I guess it's also requires signing up for the intranet, and I'm happy to, look through that list. I just don't want us to put something on here that is very difficult to change. And again, I understand what you're trying to do. We're not trying to impede the daily efforts of the police. However, we have some already non-hypothetical situations that suggest that this list has some problems. So I would propose tabling this, and I will get my intranet up, and I'm happy to work with other commissioners on the policy committee in order to look through what those notices actually look like from a broader scope.
I would like to add a friendly amendment, and so to include monthly corrective action notices would be the friendly amendment. And I don't know if there's a way how to phrase it, but something like a sentence in there that says for, lateral transitions, we don't need to be sent. So for similar to what you just mentioned, if something like that, like CIT just going to field operations or special bureaus, like just those type of lateral movements, add that to the list that we don't need to be included. So those were the two things that I would like to change as a friendly amendment.
As a friendly amendment,
do we need a second on that?
I second that. My previous concerns follow that. I think the more we add, we might get into trouble, but I appreciate the friendly amendment, so I'll add that. Do we need a vote? Can I add another friendly amendment?
Yeah, we have to open it up for discussion and debate. So I see a hand with Commissioner Benito.
So, you said me? Sorry. Okay, so just, so for me to understand, so the monthly corrective action notices are the notices that go out that list the officers that are being disciplined each month, and correct?
Mm-hmm. And also, charges, preliminary hearings, all of the notices that they're going to get to ensure their due process in the disciplinary hearing.
So you want the commission to have to pre-approve that?
To see it. first when it comes, because it's to not take away all of our authority, because the way this puts it is not including monthly corrective action notices.
Yeah, my concern is really.
I'm sorry, you have
Yeah.
to speak through the chair and ask,
Through the
to
chair.
be acknowledged. Commissioner Benito, are you done speaking or asking
No,
your
I don't think
questions?
I've had an answer to the question.
I'm trying to answer a question.
I'm trying, okay. Yeah,
So
I'm
to answer your
seeking
question-
clarification of, what this list says is that these would require commission pre-approval. And if we include monthly corrective action notices, then the Division of Police would need to request approval from us to publish the monthly list of hearings and discipline actions?
So this is, my only concern with that is not the notices itself. It's that in recent history, I don't know how many years ago, somebody can say, these notices were going out without the names of officers and badge numbers as a way to ameliorate morale within the division. So it is not about the notices themselves. It is about changes.
I understand that she asked a question, but you have not been acknowledged to answer the question.
Oh my God. Well, so-
Commissioner Chura has actually asked to be acknowledged to answer the question. So Commissioner Chura, would you like to speak?
I had the same concern that Commissioner Benito had with the disciplinary DNs, that we should just ought to get that automatically. They don't need any pre-approval from us at all. Whatever they come up with and give it to us. But we should have the names of the officers and badge numbers for our records at the minimum. If they change their policy, that's fine. But that's fine for morale, I guess. The other thing I had was, we should be getting all DNs no matter what. So if we know where everybody's going, so as long as that doesn't change, that's all I wanted to make sure of.
So we would still be getting the other.
We would get them all. We are currently getting them all. Right?
Yeah.
And we're going to have access for people who want to the file through the VPN. So.
Okay.
Commissioner Wong.
So we still have, and I agree, that was my only concern, is that historically this happened, but we still have not resolved the problem with the crisis intervention team or any type of keywording. That's the issue, is that it should be about, I'm assuming, Commissioner Benito, you want it to be about changes in policy and not just like a shift between this division is being moved to another division. Or do you want to?
Related to the discussion on the table.
She said a lateral move.
Yeah, I
so
said
there was a directive, I can read it for you, that moved CIT from field operations to,
And are you asking me a question? I'm confused.
right, so is that, so this is the issue, is that if it's just too broad on crisis, if it includes just the word crisis intervention team, that would have included that directive and they would not have been able to send it out. And that was just a move of one kind of division of the police into a different bureau. So I'm asking you, like, that, I'm asking you, like, how can we improve that? Because you understand the crisis intervention more.
You just said that was being addressed by the lateral move point under the motion.
But now we had to amend her motion because we're taking out that one about the corrective action.
We haven't done
I'm sorry,
anything. We're in
can we start speaking through the chair? Yeah, let's start speaking through the chair. Pete, would you like to?
Yeah, I think it would make sense for us to redo the friendly amendment, because it sounds like we've solved the one issue around division, the corrective action.
Okay.
So
One second, point of inquiry. How will we do that, Martin? So
if we can withdraw that.
I would just rescind it.
Okay.
So I'll rescind the friendly amendment to amend it to say that we're
Just for
just gonna,
clarity,
we're just gonna,
the one thing.
we don't need to be notified when it has to do with lateral moves. That one. Like, we don't have to do the prior approval for DNs that are just lateral moves.
I'll second that.
Thank you.
Huh? What?
And then now there's a new amendment on the table.
That's the
Just,
amendment.
so that's been second. So that lateral, the adding language around a lateral move.
So when we just withdraw it and that's
She withdrew the first one.
okay.
And I put another one on.
Put another one on.
Benito.
It's been seconded. So I think we have a clear one friendly amendment, which
Okay.
we should discuss and/or vote on.
Okay. So can you restate the friendly amendment for me?
The friendly amendment is so that we do not need prior pre-approval for DNs that are just lateral moves. Because we'll still get all
Restructuring,
of the ends.
maybe restructuring.
Or just a
Yeah.
restructuring. I don't have maybe the correct verbiage, but that is what, it's just. Yes, but this is in what we would have prior approval. And so what Commissioner Wong brought up is there are some, because there are things in here that are just like keywords that will populate and we would have to make a decision on, but we really don't need to because they might just be announcing, for example, CIT is now moving to special bureaus or something like that. But because it has CIT in it and because we put that on the list, that would mean technically before that can take place, we would have to do prior approval. Like we have to review it and say it's okay for them to do. So this is just saying when it comes to those very minute details, we'll still get all of them to see, but they don't need our approval to implement that.
Okay. So is there any further discussion or debate, Commissioner Wong?
Through the chair, I think that it's a very good, but I feel like we're patching up things right now. I would really hope that we can go back to the drawing board a little bit more because I think we're going to, again, I don't have enough information except for the 24, 30 DNs I've seen this year, what can be. So I would just want to do that. If not, then when can I make another friendly amendment to this list?
So point of clarification here, you're making a motion to postpone to a certain time, which would supersede her amendment. So if you guys want to agree with Commissioner Wong, it would have to be seconded, voted on, and it would be postponed, i.e. sent back to the committee for rethought. If you vote in the negative, you don't vote with her, then you go back to voting on the amendment that Commissioner Garrett Ferguson has on the table. So first, please vote on the motion to postpone and pushing this back to the regular committee.
Well, that didn't get seconded.
No, that's what I'm saying. It has to be seconded,
Okay.
and then you would have to vote.
Okay.
Is there a second? Then it dies. Back to the amendment.
Okay. So is there any further discussion or questions about the friendly amendment? Okay, with that being said, we are going to vote on that friendly amendment. Chair Adams?
Aye.
Commissioner Benito?
Aye.
Commissioner Chura?
Aye.
Commissioner Garrett Ferguson?
Aye.
Commissioner Kennedy?
Aye.
Commissioner Reeves?
Aye.
Commissioner Ridgway?
Aye.
Commissioner Rodriguez?
No.
Commissioner Van Leer?
No.
Commissioner Wong?
Abstain. I'm not sure if I have enough information to know what restructuring would mean.
Okay, and I, Commissioner Zayed, I also abstain. So that passes with 7 votes. So that amendment has passed. So now we're going to go back to
We
the,
call for a vote on the
I'd like to
list.
make another friendly amendment.
yeah.
Okay.
Through the chair, I need to make a friendly amendment that divisional notices that include introductions of new law that may impact the division's ability to, and the officers to do their work, be passed through us for pre-approval so we can talk to our team of volunteer lawyers and potential constitutional law experts before they are given to the officers. I do want to know that anything we put on this we could change, so I would, and it's very hard to make these decisions because we don't know the timelines of how these are very. So I'm making the motion that anything that would impact changes in state, local, or federal law, that it is just like a notification. If someone can help me from the audience, or Mr. Chura, a notification of a new case, law, or something that would impact policing, and that's read about, I believe, 10 times to the officer. I would like those notices to receive our pre-approval.
So is that okay, so is there a second for this?
Because this would directly impact accountability and the discipline process.
Is there a second? Okay, with no second, that fails. We're going to move forward with the motion on the table from Commissioner Van Leer. Where's the sheet? I think it's this. Okay, so this motion regarding divisional notices, recurring commission pre-approval, I'm going to move forward with the vote. Co-Chair Adams?
Aye.
Commissioner Benito?
Aye.
Commissioner Chura?
Aye.
Commissioner Garrett Ferguson?
Aye.
Commissioner Kennedy?
Aye.
Commissioner Reeves?
Aye.
Commissioner Ridgway?
Aye.
Commissioner Rodriguez?
Yes.
Commissioner Van Leer?
Aye.
Commissioner Wong?
Aye.
And myself, Commissioner Zayed, yes. So that passed with full commission approval. Mr. Van Leer, do you have anything else?
That's everything from the policy committee.
Okay, 1 second. We are going to move forward to the outreach committee, and Commissioner Kate Kennedy is going to give that update if necessary.
Hey everybody, I'm not the chair. The chair of the outreach committee is our co-chair, Shreener Zayed. And because we don't have a quorum, we haven't had an outreach committee meeting since the co-chairs were elected. But hopefully tonight we will remedy that so then we can start to meet again. So I'm actually going to request an update from the executive director on the RFQ process, please.
Sorry, I've been asked to use the microphone.
So, to the committee, through the chair, we have, can you hear? Are we good on audio? Okay, we're good. So the RFQ that you sent over, the draft, I sent it over with some questions to Commissioner of Purchasing to make sure everything is correct. One of the questions was, do we have to have a pre-conference to shorten this thing up if we choose to? So I'm waiting to hear back. So as soon as I hear back, I'll give everybody an update on where that's at. And then all we have to do is set dates and times, establish a committee for who's going to review these things, and we should have that survey out. So trying to move it forward.
Thank you. That concludes the report. Sorry, Mr. Reeves.
The other committee member. I have had some conversations with Shelley, Ms. Williams, about her outreach project going to the different wards of the city. So we're doing something.
Okay, thank you for that. So we're going to move forward with the Rules Committee. Pete Van Leer, the Chair Pro Tem, will give that report.
So we've been working on rule number 1.4.5, which pertains to committees, and we're more than halfway through that, and we'll finish that up hopefully at our next meeting. But we do have one motion, was passed at our Rules Committee meeting on the 13th, and it's in your packets, when the membership of any committee falls below the minimum number of 3 commissioners due to resignations or vacancies, parentheses, not due to absences from meetings or leaves of absence, a co-chair or the co-chairs have the duty to temporarily fill the vacant position or positions in order to move forward the business of the commission. While filling a temporary vacancy, co-chairs will count toward a quorum and have voting rights on the committee. This duty remains in effect until the vacant positions are filled by other commissioners according to the rules for seating committee members outlined in bylaw 1.4.5. So that's my motion, if I have a second.
I'll second. Oh, nope. Nope.
So that would be inserted in 1.4.4 as the 4th bullet point in relation to committees, the co-chairs have the following rules. Following duties, I think.
Okay, is there any question, discussion, or debate about adopting this rule? All right, we'll move forward with a vote. Co-Chair Adams.
Aye.
Commissioner Benito.
Aye.
Commissioner Chura.
Aye.
Commissioner Garrett Ferguson.
Aye.
Commissioner Kennedy.
Aye.
Commissioner Reeves.
Aye.
Commissioner Ridgway.
Aye.
Commissioner Rodriguez.
Yes.
Commissioner Van Leer.
Aye.
Commissioner Wong.
Aye.
And myself, Commissioner Zayed, I say yes. So all yeses, this passes. Commissioner Van Leer, is there any other things you want to report?
No, I think we're done.
Okay, so we're going to move forward to the Training Committee. Chandra Benito is the Chair Pro Tem for that committee.
Thank you so much. So for the training committee, we have a couple things. One, I just wanted to send a reminder. Everything okay? Oh, okay. I just heard a thud. I sent an email out. As we are a little bit low on committee members, I was hoping that we could have a couple volunteers from the commission who could help us with reviewing trainings, so that we can make sure that we're able to review them in a timely manner. I haven't heard back from any volunteers yet, so I just wanted to, Oh, great. We got one. So yeah, if we could get another one or two, that would be really helpful. And then what that would essentially entail is when the committee receives training materials from the division, we'll send it to a couple people to be kind of like lead reviewers, and then also to the full training committee, and then that feedback would be shared in the training committee, and then we will vote to advance it to the full commission. So yes, so if we could, if you're interested, please send me an email. Would love to have you. The second thing is that we are currently working out a process to how trainings will be approved. We did hear from the police accountability team, the PAT, and also at the request of the Department of Justice that they would like to have training materials approved by the full commission. And so that is why we will be voting on some training materials tonight as a full commission. They still go to the training committee for the process of us offering feedback, requesting changes, and working with the division on that, and also working with the division at the onset of the development of trainings as well. But then once they have gone through that process, they'll be brought to the full commission for a vote. One thing that we are working on right now, and I know our co-chairs and the monitoring team and the Department of Justice and the city are trying to work out a process of whether, because how it goes right now is that the division will give us training materials, the committee will review it, offer feedback, there'll be some back and forth, then it will come to the full commission for approval, and then at that point it gets sent to the Department of Justice, and then they will usually come back with at least some comments and request changes. So at that point, we need to clarify if the Department of Justice makes a few changes, does that at that point need to come back to us for another set of approval? I think, so that's still being worked out. But I think the concern was that, is that going to greatly extend the process, which is already pretty lengthy. So we will report back on that. And so then connected to that, we do have some training materials that we need to consider this evening. So the one is for our essentially weapons recertifications. These are a state OPADA requirement to that. There are recertifications on officers using different types of weapons. So the 4 different ones that we reviewed the lesson plans on were the ASP, pistol, shotgun, and taser. Those were all sent out to you. So again, this is it's pretty much a state requirement. The content has already been set as part of state guidelines, so there's not a lot of wiggle room here for us. So I'm hoping that someone will. Can I make a motion? Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna make a motion. I think just for the interest of time, we can always. Yeah, I'm just gonna do all 4 of them, all 5. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'm going to do all the qualifications together. So this is the ASP, pistol, shotgun, and taser requalification lesson plan approval.
Second.
Third. Right. Okay, so we have a motion on the floor for the approval of all 5 recertifications.
Huh? There was a lot of. Can you repeat again? There was just a lot of chatter.
Sure. The four, just want to clarify, are we missing is there a rifle recertification?
Just for clarification, there are the 4 requalification trainings, which are the 4 that you mentioned, which are the pepper spray, the taser, the shotgun, and the pistol requalification. So those are going to be grouped as one. There's also this active bystander law enforcement training, the ABLE training. And so but that has to go separate from the requalifications.
Okay.
To the chair, what about the patrol rifle training? That should be probably included on that also.
I didn't see that.
To the commissioners, so when we spoke with Lee Anderson and we met with the city and the monitoring team, these are the 5 that they specified for us that they needed. So
yeah,
I think we can probably follow up on that.
Yeah.
But these were the 4. These were the 5 that we were given.
I will follow up with Commander Maguth on that this evening. But yeah, for tonight, as requested by the Police Accountability Team and the CDP, the 4 weapons requalification lesson plans that we are voting to approve are the ASP OC, which is pepper spray, pistol requalification, shotgun requalification, and taser requalification. I would love a second. Oh, we already did one? Okay.
Okay, is there any question or debate or anything? All right, we'll move for the vote.
I have a question. This was
sorry.
a training that you sent when, John? This is different from the ABLE training.
They've been sent, I sent an email on February 17th, and then Commissioner Adams also sent another email with the materials on yesterday, and then I believe they were sent a prior time in January.
Okay, so we're going to move forward with the vote. Co-Chair Adams.
Aye.
Commissioner Benito.
Aye.
Commissioner Chura.
Aye.
Commissioner Garrett Ferguson.
Aye.
Commissioner Kennedy.
Aye.
Commissioner Reeves.
Aye.
Commissioner Ridgway.
Aye.
Commissioner Rodriguez.
Yes.
Commissioner Van Leer.
Aye.
Commissioner Wong.
Aye.
And I, Commissioner Zayed, yes. And that is approved and passed by all commissioners.
Okay.
Okay, I would say just go for it.
Thank you. The other thing that we were hoping to get past tonight is the ABLE training lesson plans. So the ABLE training is a bystander intervention training for law enforcement, and these were also included in those same emails. And so I'm hoping I'm going to make a motion to approve the ABLE lesson plans for. Okay. I can't hear you.
I just want to add.
To the motion.
No, just ask so everyone.
Okay, we could put the motion on the floor and you could discuss. Okay, just go for it.
Okay. So yeah, I will move to approve the ABLE bystander intervention training.
All right, is there a second?
Second.
All right, is there any question or discussion?
I just want to just clarify that this training sort of deals with, the idea is about being an active bystander, where essentially it's not just about, it's about officers being proactive in situations, not just with community members, but also being held accountable, holding each other accountable, and sort of, it's, very social sciencey, but I actually liked it because I felt like some of the things they were getting in this training are almost like life skills. It's almost like trying to help the police to even just be better people and like to just think differently about things. So I just want to just like put it out there that that's sort of what the training is about if people don't really know or didn't get a chance to read it, but I actually really liked it. I thought maybe I need some ABLE training, so. And
to also add further clarification, we initially reviewed this back in and approved it as a committee back in like early summer, late spring. But again, because they're requesting full commission. And I think to add to that too, it is not just about bystander intervention when they're witnessing interactions between the police and community members, but also has to do with when you see concerns, like concerning behavior about, you're concerned about the well-being of another officer, it engages in that as well. So.
Anyone else? Okay, so we're going to call for the vote to approve the motion to approve active bystander training. One moment. Okay, so Co-Chair Adams.
Aye.
Commissioner Benito.
Aye.
Commissioner Chura.
Aye.
Commissioner Garrett Ferguson.
Aye.
Commissioner Kennedy.
Aye.
Commissioner Reeves.
Aye.
Commissioner Ridgway.
Aye.
Commissioner Rodriguez.
Yes.
Commissioner Van Leer.
Aye.
Commissioner Wong.
Aye.
And I, Commissioner Zayed, vote yes, so that passes with all commissioner approval.
And then just my last thing on the committee report is that the next items, not for tonight's review, but that the next items of importance that the Department of Justice and the division would like for us to look at are the CDP training plan and the 2024 needs assessment. And that was already sent out on February 17th and earlier. So I would just request that in the next month before our next meeting that you make it a priority to review those. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, so we are moving on to our public comment portion of our meeting. I'm going to ask the community, has everyone that intends to make a comment signed the sheet? If you have not, you have the opportunity to do so now. I'm sorry?
Actually, yeah.
Would you like to sign the
like to
sheet?
sign it.
Okay,
Yeah.
come on up. Okay, thank you very much.
Two sheets of, okay, so you're just going to call them by who signed up?
Should we have Shelley do it or should I
What's
do
that?
it?
You can call, if you have the sheets, you can call.
Okay.
Give them the floor and we'll just put the microphone.
Okay.
So.
And remember, we're going to, would you like, okay. Anyone else? Oh, that's fancy. Okay. All right, thank you guys. Okay, so first on the list, Linda, I'm sorry if I butcher anybody's name. Rico.
Hello, my name's Linda Rico. I am a Cleveland resident. I'm a member of the Brady Giglio work group, and I've been a practicing criminal defense attorney for the last 20 years. I also teach a course at Cleveland State on the intersection of policing, corrections, and the courts. I just want to say that I've watched all the committee meetings. I've seen the issues. Thank you, sorry. Seen the issues and the infighting in the group. My work group is attempting to bring meaningful compliance with a Supreme Court case that is more than 50 years old. It has been resisted by everyone in possession of police disciplinary records for the entire 50 years. The work group has been capably led by Commissioner Wong, and with valuable input by Commissioner Chura, Interim Executive Director Goodrich, as well as Ryan Walker. The participants in the work group often have conflict, as I would expect with anyone who is passionate about what they're talking about, but we are able to move past it, and I think we are making constructive progress in what we hope to achieve. With all due respect to the hope for collaboration with the Cleveland Police, I would just say that that is not what we've seen with this in the last 50 years, and I think it is what you have not seen since you've requested these records. They did not comply with the time period to object, and it has been many months before they put these objections in. In my view, Commissioner Wong should not be removed as a commissioner. I think it would delay the work of this important work group. And I think that it is important that the infighting stop and that we do the work that the voters asked us to do. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next on the list, Cameron Damaska. Hope I got that right.
That's right. Hey everyone, my name is Cameron. I'm a Cleveland resident, and I just want to start by seconding the previous commenter that Terry Wong should not be removed off of her position. I feel I speak for a lot of people when I say that we have seen what has been going on with this commission, and it is extremely disappointing. But anyone who's paying attention to the specific work that we voted for this commission to have done, which of these include the compliance with Brady Giglio, which means there will be a public record and a public database of police misconduct to help residents in civil and criminal charges. When it comes to this, Terry has been extremely committed and moving that work forward. And then also when it comes to the matter of reviewing and addressing citizens' appeals of police misconduct, again, Terry is the one who has been leading this work forward. I mean, if you look at how this meeting has gone today, you all have had many votes. You voted on delaying public comment. You voted on changing the agenda twice when it seems like there didn't really need to, the time did not need to go to that. There was 25 minutes spent just kind of like going back and forth for something that probably should have just been on the agenda from the beginning or just like added shortly after if it was a mistake. But I want to speak to what is actually the motion that was brought up, because I think that it hasn't really been emphasized the degree to which this is like an integral part of your work and something that needs to be discussed more and should probably be at the top of your list. And it's disappointing that like I came here after work, I've been here for 2 hours, the meeting is almost at its closing time. We are just now having the first public comment, which was supposed to happen 2 hours ago. Just extremely disappointing all around. But in the specific thing that is being appealed right now is the case of Anton Tolbert, which the Civilian Police Review Board has recommended a Group 3 discipline for Sergeant Lance Henderson. Group 3 means that it carries up to firing, which means this is a matter where you all need to be investigating whether a sergeant needs to be fired. And there's already strong evidence to that case given the recommendation of CPRB. This should be the thing that you all are talking about right now. Like, you want to talk about the crisis in Cleveland PD, like, no one wants to join the police department right now because, yeah, this sergeant wrongfully arrested a black man for just open carrying, something that you can legally do anywhere in the state of Ohio, but not if you are black in Cleveland. And that is the reason why Cleveland PD has dropped from 1,600 officers to 1,100.
Time. Thank you very much for your comment. We appreciate that. I can tell that you are deeply passionate about this issue and your concerns are important to us, and we will prioritize those. I would say give us your contact information so we can reach out to you to address your concerns.
You all just need to vote on this or
Thank
talk
you very
about this
much.
today.
The next person is Lou.
Since the last time I make public comments, we have some interesting developments today. Today we started having the real learning you guys should have learned since last year. You guys, even till today, after 1 year, you guys still don't really know how to conduct a meeting. If you want to stick with Robert's Rules of Order, which you are not familiar with, you should have put in the learning from last year, instead of just now. Secondly, today also we have another new stuff, friendly amendments. So does that mean we all always have hostile amendments? What's the use to call an amendment friendly or not friendly when you guys block motions, stop commissioner talking, interrupting? Some of the interrupting actually I think could be constructive to a certain degree. But the whole idea is just to shut her up, Terry Wong. Why? Just because she has a different kind of thinking, different opinion about things? This actually is something you should value because you guys are lack of it. On the other hand, I believe she's seeking any opportunity to learn valuable lessons from you guys. Do you really appreciate a hardworking person at your workplace? Or you just like to put on a smile saying everything is friendly and try to rush all the decision over to vote everything yes, 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 or no, no, no together, and you say that's a collaborating achievement? That's very wrong. And I already said that before. This may work in the nonprofit world, but this does not work for a commission like this, when all of you should actually have all different opinions arguing on the issues instead of putting everything as a personality contest. Will you really be able to move things forward? I still doubt. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The next person is Stephanie House Jones.
Good evening. So I, last week, during budget hearings, the two co-chairs as well as the executive director came. They put the request in for their $150,000 grants person. I was the person on November 8th, 2023, that indicated that based on what was described then, that I would, put an amendment forward. Since that time, I've gotten more than I wanted to hear about the commission. I've done the research, and I was the one that said I would not put forth the $150,000 amendment from the budget. There's a lot of things I really strongly suggest this commission to seek counsel from many of our foundations that do grants management. It is a lot, and when you look at how much people charge for administrative fees, you probably could get more bang for your buck than just investing in one person. That's that. The other thing that I specifically told the co-chairs, because of the dynamics here, the commission will need to find a way to work with the administration, right? If you both are not on an agreement, you're not going to move forward. No is a full sentence. You might not like the no, but no is a full sentence. The other thing that I would just offer to you all, and this is the thing, I think this is one of the things when people talk about like right or wrong and then going and understanding politics. One of the fundamental things of politics is relationship building. You could be the smartest person in the world, but if no one likes you, you will get nothing done. Take it from me. I know this lesson all too often. So, you could take this for whatever it is, and I have just observed it, right? Of whatever is happening here, I feel like there is obstructionist behavior going on that needs to stop. And similarly, as I was telling the co-chairs to expound to the commissioners should be giving the direction to the executive director. Same thing I'm offering now to the co-chairs. The co-chair should be managing this meeting. If people, the power in being a co-chair is just because people want to speak don't mean they need to speak. You know what I'm saying? And I know people don't say that, but y'all got to get through stuff. You know what I'm saying? And it's just some fundamental things that, I was just taking time, like, it should not take like 27 minutes just to talk about the agenda and meetings and stuff like that. This is a publicly recorded meeting, so you can look at the details, things of that nature. When you look at a lot of times people's minutes, they just go through some of the perfunctionary things or whatever. And even then, I'm like, well, why y'all not doing voice and stuff? You know what I'm saying? But I don't know how the rules are set up. But I just, it's a lot going on here. And then the final thing that I would add for you all is when I talked to the co-chairs, I asked, had this group gone through a retreat or any type of relationship?
My apologies, Councilwoman Tynes.
But y'all should do some team building.
Thank you very much. Delonte Spencer Thomas.
Wow. Ooh, cool.
Too much. Good evening. I have 3 comments really quickly. 2 in my city official capacity. Just want to make sure there was a question that Commissioner Ridgway raised, and I want to make sure that there was a clear answer to during the committee reports. With the creation of an executive committee, you are in fact creating another public body, right? And so all of this, so what Jason mentioned in terms of the Open Meetings Act will absolutely apply to that committee. So which means it has to be public, there has to be notice of that meeting, and all the other things that go for any other subcommittee. So I just want to make sure that that's explicitly clear. What you did is just strip the rights for voting privileges or making any business decisions in that meeting. So just want to make sure that that's perfectly clear. Second, I want to strongly advise that that you work with Martin, and we kind of already briefly discussed it, but that you work with Martin to ultimately come up with a process for how you're going to take in cases and how you're going to discuss cases or not discuss cases, because what you do not want to do is prejudice or otherwise taint those cases by talking publicly before they've actually been heard.
Thank you very much.
So I want to make sure that that's very clear, that you guys should absolutely work with your attorney, with your staff, to develop a process, and with each other, to develop a process for what that looks like, because that's a road that you do not want to go down. Lastly, I'll say now, it's my Ward 7 City of Cleveland resident. I know the commission has gotten a lot of slack and a lot of critique and criticism, and a lot of it warranted. But not all of it has, and I just want to make sure that you get credit where credit is due. You guys are meeting, once a month for you meet twice a month for 6 months, and then once a month for another 6 months, which means as a full body, you've only met roughly 18 times in 2023, right? And at 2 hours each time, we're talking 36 hours of time, right? And so and I hear a lot of comments around, like, oh, you haven't heard cases yet, you haven't heard cases yet. To have the ability to, or the responsibility of building something from scratch, an entire department from scratch with all of this responsibility that the charter, that the consent decree places on this commission, and the fact that in work days, you've only been at work for less than 2 weeks, right? And so I just want to make sure that distinction is very clear, because I do want to give credit where credit is due in terms of the work that has been done with respect to setting up committees and working through policies and rules and training, et cetera. So I want to make sure that I put that out there, because I do think you deserve credit for that, and I do think it's been slightly unfair, because to be quite honest, and I'll end with this, is I don't think under any circumstances any combination of commissioners probably should not have been hearing cases within his first year, because there was so much work that needed to be done. So I'll end with that. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, so really quick, we have 10 minutes left in the official meeting. John and I are thinking it might be a good idea to extend the meeting. We're also open to scheduling a special meeting to get some more of these motions done. And I do want to finish at least 10 more minutes of public comment. So I want to finish the public comment, the 10 minutes of public comment, and then we could discuss the extension of the meeting. The next person, Chris Martin.
You have to extend before the meeting ends, so we have to decide now.
Okay. Okay, we're going to talk 1 second. Is there a motion on the floor to extend the meeting?
Could we, for how long, for what, for which motions, how many? Because it's,
Yeah, we're going to,
someone has to bring a motion.
yeah.
We need a time
I think 30 minutes.
for
I
seven,
propose that
7 motions.
Whatever we can't finish, we'll just address in a special meeting.
I propose we extend the meeting for 30 minutes.
Okay, is there a second? Okay, is it okay if we just have a unanimous consent?
Yes.
Okay.
No, he doesn't want.
Okay, so I'm going to go down the line.
Yeah, vote.
Is there any question or debate?
Yes. Sorry.
Okay, go ahead.
To the chair. The last couple of meetings, we've taken over half an hour just to get past the agenda. We talk about respecting of people's time. What about my time? Like that person said, I work too. I haven't been home today. I left out the house at 7 o'clock. I'm never going to vote to extend a meeting unless it's really warranted. This isn't. When somebody monopolizing all the time and extending, I got the times written down. It ain't even close to our agenda times. So, that's all.
To the chair. So what I'm going to say is we do need to extend this meeting because there is business on the table that pertains to the actual functioning of the commission. We currently have committees that do not have enough to have quorum because we have to go through a actual parliamentary process in order to do that. So we hoped that we could just move people on committees, but that's not the proper way to do it. So I'm going to say we absolutely do need to do this. And the other thing is we have to accept those new committee appointments. We need to reestablish this hiring committee. We can maybe put some of this other stuff off, but those things have got to happen today.
I have a question. I agree with the committees, but why is the opening the hiring committee more important than the re-engagement of, which is symmetric with it, with Mark Wallach? I mean, I guess I'm also just, this happened because we didn't have the agenda ready. I don't understand, if you want to do the rescind motion, you have to do the Wallach motion to extend his engagement, because that is about the same issue. There's also a conflict of interest with records. You're pushing that back. And as a citizen said, we are behind. We are in violation of our own rules, 2.44, in answering these citizen petitions, which is a core responsibility of the commission. So committees, sure, maybe you guys should come in on the committees, who's already passed that rule. So I don't understand how the ordering of business is of priority is to you, but to me and to the community, it is to actually do our accountability and functions. And ironically, if some of these motions have been allowed to be in the committee report, like the other committees were able to do their motions, I think we've gotten through this.
Okay, so we're going to call the vote to extend the meeting for 30 minutes. Co-Chair Adams?
Aye.
Commissioner Benito?
Aye.
Commissioner Chura?
I'm going to abstain.
Commissioner Guerra-Ferguson?
Aye.
Commissioner Kennedy?
Aye.
Commissioner Reed?
No.
Commissioner Ridgway?
Aye.
Commissioner Rodriguez?
Yes.
Commissioner Van Leer?
Aye.
Commissioner Wong?
Aye, with apologies to Mr. Reeves.
And myself, Commissioner Zayed, yes. So that passes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, with 9 votes, 1 no, and an abstention. Okay, so we have 5 minutes left of public comment. Mr. Martin?
Chris Martin. First, I want to apologize for my lack of decorum at the beginning of this meeting. I was just, kind of aghast at the lack of proper procedure on display by all parties at this table. Commissioner Van Leer, I don't mean to pick on you, but when you interjected your call the vote, that was an meaningless utterance. Presumably you meant to move the previous question. That would have been a proper motion if your intent was to close debate. Unfortunately, a motion for the previous question itself requires a 2/3 majority vote to pass. But you didn't hold any such vote. My point here really is that none of you know rules of order. Instead, you're just grasping at them to use as a cudgel against one another. It is my opinion that all of you desperately need training on rules of procedure, including your parliamentary authority, Robert's Rules of Order. Like, for example, I hope you realize that you are not allowed to take votes in executive session. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The next person, Kayla Pincus.
Hi again, everybody. First thing, I like a lot of these new rules that you guys have regarding the community engagement. I don't love this list thing. I know I have no say over that, but that's my opinion. I like lining up, and I don't always know if I am going to want to make a comment, and some things just come to me. Sometimes I want to respond to stuff that other people have said. So I'm not a fan. But either way, here we are. So the other thing I want to say is is this. I worked with Commissioner Wong very closely for most of 2023. Okay. All right. And I agree with the overwhelming majority of the content of the things that you say. And to some of the other people's annoyance, I mean, who disagree with you, I often really agree with you on content. Truly, I can't emphasize that enough. I think that you are an asset to this commission. And there are times that I am relieved to know that you're here looking into the details. I once called it minutia sarcastically, but I mean it. I also mean that you behave inappropriately and in ways that are disrespectful and they're out of order. And I put that on all of you guys, as I have always, to keep each other in line. You have to keep yourselves in line, but the people who have power have to then make sure that you're keeping each other in line so that you're not going into each other's bounds or into other people's bounds. And I think that if you're able to do that and harness harness your abilities, that will be a great thing. Sometimes that means diminishing some of what you've got going on, and sometimes that means people who don't do enough need to be held to a higher standard so that you're actually doing work. So that's both, right? It's both ways. There are people, I think, who do not do enough, and that is a problem. And there are people who overdo, right? And I also want to say that a lot of the people who are here, I'm very glad you're here, but this public comment moment, while it's very important, is not a reflection of the community's opinion about anything. I have been coming to these meetings for the last, over a year, and you're all brand new faces, and I'm glad that you're here. But I want it to be known for whoever's listening that a lot of that I don't want to. Yeah, I'm glad you're here, but in addition to that, just because you get up on this mic does not mean that you are 1/10 of the population of Cleveland, and your opinion, just for whoever's listening and et cetera, that we need a proper outreach and survey sort of experience so that we're actually getting the input of people at the whole community and not having a couple people's opinions be outsized who might be invited by particular commissioners for particular vocal public support, because in my experience that people who are really here see more of the nuance, and so thank you.
Thank you. Next, Richard Jackson.
Thank you, Commissioners, and to the Chair and to you all. Thank you for taking the opportunity and taking the time out of your lives to actually do this work. Real quickly, a number of things I wanted to get to. I'm trying to do this 1, 2, 3 order. I'm very happy to see the new progress the direction that you're wanting to go. I really like the executive committee portion there, because some of the things that you're squabbling about here, even though it'll be in a public session, you can get through those things one by one, and you can actually keep everything in one mission as you go forward. This committee will be doing this based upon this mission. That committee will be doing that based upon that mission. And then, of course, the budget will make sure that there is enough money to get these different projects that each committee wants to get done for the year. So those things need to be done in executive session. Now, what I really wanted to get to is that I am looking at how you guys are divvying up the workload, and I'm afraid it's at a glacial pace, at least for me right now. I think that there are many ways that we can speed up this process so that if I'm understanding the city properly, to be collaborative with what we want to do, we all want to get through the consent decree. And we all like to get out of the consent decree so that we can save the city the $10 million or whatever they're paying every year so that you guys can take over. Well, to do that, we have to hit some more things. There's 400 some odd paragraphs, and I think the city's hit, maybe 40 of them? So we've got a lot of work to get done. I really think that there is a way to get this done much faster. I believe that we can have a lot of progress. I think you're at 33% right now from the last DOJ or the last monitoring report, I truly believe that you can get up into the 70s within the next 17 to 24 months. And it's not a really hard process. It's just that you all have to work in the same mindset, one mission, and everybody's doing it the same way. So again, thank you for what you're doing, and I'm really happy to see the progress that you're making. I think that the direction that you guys are going now is a very good direction for these public meetings, and I'd really like to see how this is going to work with the executive committees. Thank you.
Thank you. Gabe Flores.
So first, I'd just like to lead that I know you're all doing really hard work, and you aren't being paid hardly anything for it. And after meeting several of you, I realize that you're leading with a level of diligence, and you're leading with equity and fairness. I do kind of wonder about a few things. Just the discursiveness that happens in what I've observed, I kind of wonder about the internal respect you have for each other.
Can you speak up a little bit? I'm having trouble hearing you.
I'm sorry about that.
Thank you.
Yeah, I will. I always hate shouting. But I kind of wonder about your internal fairness with each other. And I wonder if there are, I mean, we have Case Western here, we've got Cleveland State. They both have amazing communication science programs. And I wonder if it might be beneficial as maybe a request or a query to maybe have some community building or like some internal community building for yourselves in order to have ways to learn how to talk just more effectively. I think that something's being missed because I think you're all hitting the same spots, but you're just like not recognizing it. And I just kind of wonder about that. I also want to like say that like someone like Terry, yes, diligence is extremely effective, but at the other end of diligence is understanding. So there are things that I think a lot of folks have to work on within these meetings, where I don't think that one should always lead with that. I think that there should be pausing. I think there should be more understanding. And I just wonder if you would all so much more enjoy it. I really think you'd all enjoy these meetings so much more with maybe just some effectiveness training. And I just feel that, and I'm someone that knows, I know Terry, and I've met several of you now, and I just feel that there are ways to build that don't have to always be in tones of animosity. That's all I have. Thanks.
Thank you very much. And the last person, Rosie Palfy.
I'm coming.
Hello, everyone. My name's Rosie Palfy. I echo a lot of the remarks I've heard. I agree with almost everything that the public commenters have said. Nobody has questioned Commissioner Wong's work ethic, her ideas. I have talked to some of you individually, and I've heard you say in meetings that you agree with what she has to say the majority of the time. The problem is you guys have limited time. And I don't know if you watched the budget hearing last week. It was a train wreck, and I mean no disrespect to Councilwoman Stephanie Howes-Jones. I can't tell you how much I appreciate her. I didn't agree with things that were said in that meeting, okay? But you need to watch that because you'll see what they're concerned about. And one of their concerns was that you haven't heard of any disciplinary cases. Now, the reality is that Commissioner Wong chairs the Accountability Committee, and they didn't meet in September, October, November, December, despite numerous requests from commissioners as well as community members. And one thing that's really, really upsetting is the fact that Commissioner Wong and I have had a lot of private conversations in the past, and things that I'm hearing her object to today, just, it's a 180 from when we talked about this whole executive committee thing. I've been on 2 county boards. They always have an executive committee. The executive committee is made up of the committee chairs, and they meet maybe a week before the meeting and they set the agenda. Finally, the way that you're treating the staff, you need to be mindful that everybody is looking at this through the lens of how you're going to handle police discipline. I keep hearing about an investigation that happened 5 years ago. It's public record, 9 pages, and I wouldn't even say, I mean, this wasn't even close, okay? Now, the bottom line is, when you get an officer, when you get a complaint in front of you, you can't consider somebody an unfounded complaint from 5 years ago. I mean, you can't do that. And so, I mean, I don't even know if it's
Ms.
legal.
Palfy, that is your time.
Thanks. I'm going to say I don't know if it's even legal for city officials to continue to bring that up. I'm not a lawyer. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, so we're going to move forward to our old business. And we have some motions to consider. Mr. Van Leer, do you want to present
Yeah, so
that?
I wanted to withdraw the 2 motions, the removal of Commissioners Committee Chair and recommendation for removal of Commissioner. So I would like to remove those. They were tabled at our last meeting, and I want to withdraw those.
Do we have to vote for that? Okay, and it's just, okay.
So I'll
it's
just
removed.
withdraw
Okay.
those.
All
And I would
right,
also like to suggest that the motion to enter executive session we delay for another meeting.
Okay. Okay, so that, I'm sorry, Ms. Ridgeway.
Yes, I know that, again, I want to ask the question regarding the removal of the 2 motions that you just mentioned. As I had said at the last meeting, did this go back to rules to establish, with no reference to Commissioner Wong, but did this go back to rules to establish how to remove a commissioner, how to remove, I mean, the only thing we can do for a commissioner, of course, is make a recommendation, or how to remove a commissioner as a committee chair, because we had no rules to do that. And I did mention that at the last meeting, that before we can move forward in doing this, we need rules that we need to refer to that will become the standard in terms of how we measure commissioners' performance in order to bring a motion like this to the table. I understand what you're doing. I asked last time, were there rules? And so I'm asking that again.
Would you like to respond, Commissioner Van Leer?
We're working on establishing rules, but we do not currently have precise rules on that, so.
Commissioner Benito.
I did create a draft of a general accountability process that was sent prior to the previous, our first Rules Committee meeting at the beginning of February. We have since had 2 Rules Committee meetings, but we are only halfway through 1.4.5. And my concern with the process is that at the pace that we are moving through approving rules, that it could be several months before we're able to get to that process.
Commissioner Wong.
Okay, so my understanding that the reason why these are being removed is an objection I made earlier, and I wish that we had done this before, that we have a Robert's Rules procedure because for this. So I wish that's my first point, is that we should be, as Mr. Martin has suggested, become more familiar with Robert's Rules. So what happened was, as many of you knew, I believe that those motions were tabled for a process, for specificity of charges and other things. Instead of, and the commission has the commission's will supersedes the committee's. However, what happened is that when we went into the Rules Committee, Commissioner Van Leer and Commissioner Benito, out of order, again in Robert's Rules, moved an incidental motion that it was my error that I didn't rule against it as the chair, to remove me as the chair of that committee. My concern over these drafts is that the committee rule, a committee chair draft, is now there is a lower threshold to remove a committee chair than there is to remove, this is not executive session. To remove, it is not about, you can't, I have the right to waive that, please let me finish. That the standard to remove the committee chairs is lower than to remove co-chairs. I had wanted, when I was the rules chair, to design these rules together because I understood that the power needs to be balanced. They were separated.
Excuse me, I'm sorry, Commissioner Wong, this is not the time
let me-
for you.
I
No,
have-
no, I'm sorry.
I'm
This is
answering her
not for you,
question.
but she did not direct it to
it's
you.
What
She
Robert's
directed that
rules?
to
What Robert's rules
Commissioner
are
Van
you?
Leer.
I'm explaining what
And
is
this,
the
you're
draft.
out of order. We are
How am
discussing
I would like
the motion of
I would like
the
no, no,
withdrawal
no.
of these motions, and we are discussing.
We're
the
having discussion, so I have 10 minutes to discuss. I've not reached 10 minutes. I don't intend to take 10 minutes. Please cite the Roberts.
You are out of order.
Please
You're
cite the
lying.
Roberts rules that makes me out of order.
You are, because
Please
you are
cite it
out
here.
of order. You are
Please
not
cite it here.
discussing what we are.
I am
currently
discussing because I'm
talking
asking her
about.
question.
Point
Please
of-
cite it.
Point of inquiry. Point of inquiry.
There's no debate. Commissioner Van Leer is withdrawing the motion, so there is no debate. So we move on to the next agenda items.
There's no debate at this time. Thank you very much. So those motions were withdrawn. We are at the point where there's a motion to enter executive session to discuss the discipline of a public official. What would you like to do with that?
I would like to delay that for a future meeting.
Okay. Okay, so we're going to move forward to new business. We have motions on the, do we have to vote for that?
If you withdraw the motion, you don't have to vote. You can bring it up at the next meeting. If you make a motion to postpone for another meeting, you have to vote on it. So if you want to withdraw it, you don't have to vote.
I will simply withdraw it then. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, sorry about that. We're going to move forward to new business. John, would you like to discuss these motions to accept resignations?
So essentially, we, like I said before, we can't just allow commissioners to just, based on our rules, we can't just leave a committee or add a committee, so there has to be a process. So what has to happen is we need to, we've had 3 commissioners that have left committees, so we need to make a motion, formally motion, to accept those resignations off of those committees, and then we have a few commissioners who would like to join new committees, and I know we have the 2 former co-chairs, and so they have to join the committees that, since they are no longer co-chairs, and so we have to formally accept those additions to those committees. So that's what we need to do.
Okay, so the first motion on the table is to accept resignations of commissioners from committees. And
name the.
What?
They will have to name the commissioners that are.
Okay, so is there anyone that would like to move that? They can.
They have.
We have to make a motion.
Yeah.
So, okay, so everybody, just so we have some clarity. The commissioners are, we need to vote to accept Commissioner Reeves' resignation from the training committee. We need to vote to accept Commissioner Early's resignation from the outreach committee. And then we also need to vote to accept Commissioner Benito's resignation from the accountability committee. Once we do that, if anybody wants to join something else, they can, but we have to do that first. Yes. Okay, so then that would be a 4th.
Okay.
But so we need someone to make the motion.
Can I ask a question first? Okay, so this is just these commissioners specifically, not a motion for any commissioner that want to resign from committee.
No, what happened was in our first year, we did not do that properly. So this is the proper way to resign from a committee and to add to a committee until we change our rules. So 1.4.5 would address that, but it's not passed. It's not revised yet. So we have to do it this way based on Robert's rules.
So, point of information, there was a rule change, and prior to the rule, commissioners were allowed to leave voluntarily. But because of the change in the rule that took that out, that's why we're doing it in this way. Okay.
To add the clarification, I think it was because there were no committees, there were no committee chairs, and we just did a random kind of straw poll. So I don't believe that there was any process established.
Okay, moving
Right,
forward,
but-
does anyone?
But Robert's Rules has a process.
We have to
It's worth
keep going,
following.
guys. Does anyone want to put that motion forward?
I'll move that we accept those recognitions.
I'll second.
Okay, is there any discussion or
It's been a
anything
long
about
day.
that?
I think you probably need to name the commissioners.
We've just named the,
In the,
Okay, I move to remove that okay, do we need?
Just do it. Just do it.
Okay, I move that my resignation from the Accountability Committee be accepted, that Commissioner Garrett Ferguson's resignation, thank you, from the Outreach Committee be accepted, that Commissioner Early's resignation from Outreach be accepted, and that Commissioner Donaldson, Commissioner Reeves' resignation be accepted from police training.
okay, is that seconded?
Second.
Okay, is there any discussion or debate or questions? Okay, so we're going to go forward with the vote. Co-Chair Adams?
Aye.
Commissioner Benito?
Aye.
Commissioner Chura?
Aye.
Commissioner Garrett Ferguson?
Aye.
Commissioner Kennedy?
Aye.
Commissioner Reeves?
Aye.
Commissioner Ridgway?
Aye.
Commissioner Rodriguez?
Aye.
Commissioner Van Leer?
Aye.
Commissioner Wong?
Aye.
And myself, Commissioner Zayat, yes. So that passes with all commissioners' approval. We're going to move forward to the motion to accept new committee appointments. So we do have a number of committee appointments. Do you have that list? Okay, so right now at this time, if anyone wants to join a committee, please let us know your name and what committee you would like to join.
Hello, I guess my name is Adriana Rodriguez. I would like to join the training as well as outreach.
Okay, is there anyone else?
I would like to join police accountability.
Okay, is there anyone else?
I do want to add one more thing, is that we currently have 2 commissioners who are out of compliance with our rules when it comes to serving on committees and work groups. So our rules state that each commissioner is required to be in a work group as well as a committee. So what that means is we have the 2 commissioners who are out of compliance, and so either those commissioners, in order to get into compliance, they must join a work group or they must join an additional committee.
To the co-chair, at this point, I do not want to join a committee, and I know that I'm out of compliance. I hope to go on 3 months leave of absence, so it doesn't make sense for me to come on a committee to turn around and leave in a month's time. I have volunteered to join the Pursuit work group, provided the work will be completed in April. It doesn't make sense for me to come on and take a spot, and I'm not going to be here.
And Commissioner Ridgway, we had received your request for that leave, so we do understand that.
And I also, to the chair, would like to go on the record that I was not referring to you.
Oh, well, I was referring to me, but I would just like to say this. I am working with the interim executive director on a couple of other projects, and I will stay involved in project work, until I leave.
All right. Is there anyone else before we put forth the motion?
I have a question. What are the committees that will be out of compliance with the resignations? Maybe you can tell people.
What I can say
Or
is...
so out of inoperational.
So currently, we only have 2 members on the training committee. So actually, Adriana kind of helped solve it, because now that she's joined the 2 committees that had 2 members, she gives us a 3rd commission member, which lets us get quorum. So she actually solved that problem for us. Thank you.
So what about outreach?
She'll be a part of
Okay,
outreach.
is that 3 then?
Mhm. Yeah.
Okay, so none of them need.
We're good.
Okay.
We're at the minimum, but...
If we vote to accept.
Okay, so is there anyone that wants to put forth that motion?
I move that I be accepted to the new committees of training and outreach. And I'm sorry, and Commissioner Garrett Ferguson to accountability.
Is there a second? Is there any discussion? Okay, so I'm sorry, go ahead.
I just want to remind, anyone that is interested in accountability that, as Mr. Delante Spencer Thomas said, there is an expectation, especially because we have 2 pending appeals, that no commissioner, I don't know, I'm not trying to limit anyone's free speech, but it would be advisable not to speak to anybody, any complainant, any person that is involved in these 2 investigations. It's just common sense. I don't know what the law is, but please do not, I have, that this is.
We're in the middle of a vote on.
But my concern is.
Commissioner Wong, your concerns are out of order.
It's not because.
This has nothing to
it's
do
an
with
objection.
moving the vote forward.
It's an objection,
It's not-
and it is.
Well, you need to be direct.
Well, my apologies for not being as succinct as you, but I'm concerned because there was some, and I'm fine with it now, but please, no more discussion. I don't want to point at the commissioner. No more discussion with the investigators on these cases. If we can do that, because the work of the Accountability Committee will be biased if that continues.
So for point of clarification, because that is inappropriate, that was an inappropriate comment that was brought up. So for all transparency purposes, when we first got appointed to this commission last year, December of 2022, I believe, I was contacted on LinkedIn by one of the many investigators at the at OPS, because I'm someone that people know on LinkedIn. So they told me, hey, just so you know, there's a case that might be coming down the pipeline. That was all. I showed that to Commissioner Wong. I have not spoken to any of the complainants in that case, nor have I spoken to anyone that was the special investigator. Okay. It was something that happened because we had just been appointed, and the person knew me, and they just sent me a news article.
Okay.
So I just want to make that clear that I have not spoken to anyone.
Thank you very much. So we're going to, is there any other questions or debate related to the vote of accepting these 2 commissioners on these committees? And, okay, without anything, we're going to move forward with the vote. Co-Chair Adams?
Aye.
Commissioner Benito?
Aye.
Commissioner Chura?
Aye.
Commissioner Garrett Ferguson?
Aye.
Commissioner Kennedy?
Aye.
Commissioner Reeves?
Aye.
Commissioner Ridgway?
Aye.
Commissioner Rodriguez?
Yes.
Commissioner Van Leer?
Aye.
Commissioner Wong?
Aye.
And I, Commissioner Zayed. He says yes. It passed unanimously. So we are going to move forward to the next item of business. We don't really have, I think we should just try to, one more, what about the extended outside counsel? I think that's pretty simple.
We need to do, I think we need to do both of those together, because it's not equitable to move one path forward for Mr. Goodrick's nomination at a different time.
Okay, well then we have to wait to a different.
It's just 2. Just do the 2 motions. It's not
We
that-
need
it's
to
a-
need to reopen the hiring committee.
Just do both motions. They're not hard.
30-minute agenda.
The interim executive records contract is up in April, so that means that we would not have done anything until March. We need to reopen one of these hiring.
I
this hiring
understand what you're
committee.
saying, but I'm trying to decide what we can do within the amount of time that we currently have.
However, Ms. Syed,
Let's just do a special.
No.
This is, okay. I know that this is like a controversial thing for us, so let's just call it for what it is. This is not, we're not in a good place. I mean, at this point, there are things that we can do that don't have to necessarily be in conflict with this other motion. So I think that we need to start working. I mean, we need this hiring committee open. So I'm going to go on the record and say that I support it, and I think that we should vote on it tonight. If it dies, it dies. If it passes, it passes. But I think we need it.
3 minutes.
Make the motion. Just make the motion.
I make the motion I move for us to reopen the hiring committee.
I second
You
it.
want,
But I thought that
you have to rescind, you have to read that motion. Just read it. You have to rescind the last vote.
Oh, whereas the commission charter grants the commission power to exist as an independent municipal commission with an executive director nominated by the commission, appointed by the mayor. Whereas pursuant to that power, the commission on January 25th, 2023 voted to hire Jason Goodrich as interim executive director and open a hiring committee. Yeah. To find a permanent executive director, whereas the commission on June 14th voted to nominate Jason Goodrich as its executive director and to disband its hiring committee, whereas the mayor on July 20th, 2023 rejected the commission's nomination of Jason Goodrich, whereas the commission on April 26, 2023 voted to extend Jason Goodrich's tenure as interim executive director until May 1st, 2024, and the commissioner will be left without executive leadership upon the expiration of this term. Therefore, the commission resolves as follows. 1, the commission will reestablish and reopen its hiring committee and allow this committee to initiate the process of soliciting applications for the position of its executive director. This process will include, but is not limited to, drafting a job description, liaisoning with the City of Cleveland HR department to initiate a thorough nationwide search for candidates for executive director. And secondly, the commission will further delegate a set of commissioners to the hiring committee to oversee the work of facilitating the search for and hiring of its executive director. The hiring committee will provide updates to the full commission as necessary, and all decisions related to the search and hiring process will be voted upon by the full commission.
You have a second?
Second.
it's 9 o'clock. Oh, no.
It's 8:59.
Go, you gotta go.
I'd like to make a friendly amendment to I'd like to make a friendly amendment to establish the hiring committee as myself, Commissioner Reeves, and Commissioner Chura.
I would like to join that hiring committee.
I would like to join that hiring committee too.
I can't second.
Someone has a second.
I'll rescind the friendly amendment till we have, no, wait, no? Okay, it's seconded, never mind.
Vote to the friendly amendment? I don't know.
Is there any question or debate related to the friendly amendment?
So the friendly amendment, it was made by Commissioner Benito for 3 people, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, but
I second
It
it.
has to be 4 people on there, right?
No, it has to be 3, and hers does not include Commissioner
I'll second
Rodriguez
it.
or Commissioner Wong.
I'll second
Why
it.
does it have to be 3?
We're gonna
It doesn't, we don't,
It's fine.
Yeah.
5 people, we're gonna second it.
but she didn't say 5 people. That's not.
So if you
what
want to
the-
amend it, we can have up to 5. I think it would be good to have a broadness of it, of the diversity of it. So,
Yeah,
I would
that
like to
was-
second Commissioner Benito's motion for 3 people. Then we
Thank you
can
very
keep
much.
moving.
Thank you very much for that. Is there any discussion related to
I
the,
would like to make a friendly amendment to
well, can we,
yours.
okay.
We
Yeah.
can do that, and I would like to include myself on the hiring committee and Commissioner Wong.
Okay, so does someone want to second that? friendly
Second.
amendment? Okay, is there any discussion about the amendment that Commissioner Rodriguez made?
Is this the last time that people can join? Do they have to
No,
join
it's
now?
not the,
Okay.
it's not.
Okay.
But it would be 5, so it wouldn't be any more people other than those. So we're going to vote for the friendly amendment that Adriana Rodriguez presented to add Commissioner Wong and Rodriguez to the hiring committee. Co-Chair Adams.
Aye.
Commissioner Benito.
Aye.
Commissioner Chura.
Aye.
Commissioner Garrett Ferguson.
Aye.
Commissioner Kennedy.
Aye.
Commissioner Reeves.
Abstain.
Commissioner Ridgway.
Aye.
Commissioner Rodriguez.
Yes.
Commissioner Van Leer.
Aye.
Commissioner Wong.
I,
And I, Commissioner Zayed, say no. So that passed with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 votes. Okay, so now we're going to go back to the friendly amendment made by Commissioner Benito to establish a hiring committee with herself, Commissioner Chura, and Commissioner Greg Reeves. Is there any discussion related to that?
And now also Commissioner.
Well, that's already taken care of. So is there any discussion or questions about that? So they're good. Now we're for you guys. Okay. So is there any discussion? Okay, we're going to move forward with the vote. Commissioner Adams.
Aye.
Commissioner Benito. Aye. Commissioner Chura.
Aye.
Commissioner Garrett Ferguson.
Aye.
Commissioner Kennedy.
Aye.
Commissioner Reeves.
Aye.
Commissioner Ridgway.
Aye.
Commissioner Rodriguez.
I'm going to abstain.
Okay. Commissioner Van Leer.
Aye.
Commissioner Wong.
Aye.
And I, Sharina Zayed, votes yes. So that passed with majority of the commissioners. Okay, so
Now the whole motion.
yeah, so now this we're gonna. Did someone put that on the? Did you?
Yeah, yep, I moved
And this is
it
to rescind.
to
Or what is it for?
rescind and reopen the hiring committee.
Okay, so the motion is on the floor to rescind and reestablish the hiring committee. Is there any discussion or debate related to that? Okay, with that being said, we're going to move forward with the vote. Commissioner Adams.
Aye.
Commissioner Benito.
Aye.
Commissioner Chura.
Aye.
Commissioner Garrett Ferguson.
Aye.
Commissioner Kennedy.
Aye.
Commissioner Reeves.
Aye.
Commissioner Ridgway.
Aye.
Commissioner Rodriguez.
Yes.
Commissioner Van Leer.
Aye.
Commissioner Wong.
Aye.
And I, Commissioner Zayed, vote yes. So that passed unanimously.
Greg, do it.
Do it, Greg.
Move to adjourn. 4 minutes late.
And that is approved with unanimous consent. Thank you guys for the meeting
We gotta
tonight.
schedule this special meeting.
We are going to send out an email to schedule the special meeting.